This is the Town of Lake Park, Florida special called Community Redevelopment Agency budget meeting for Monday, September 8th, 2025. The time is now 5:36 p.m. Can we please have the clerk take the roll call?
Board Member Linden.
Here.
O'Rourke. Thomas. Vice Chair Hensley.
Here.
Chair Mashad.
Here. Can we all please rise for the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. This is our first public budget. This is our Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Thank you for the quick catch. And Ms. Barbara Gould, I will leave the floor to you.
All right. I'm sorry that Allison can't be here tonight. Barbara Gould, Finance Director. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my things from all ending up on the floor. So you have already seen the CRA budget. You saw as part of the budget, the third budget workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have these numbers up here, and they've been adjusted slightly for a couple of small changes. The first one would be the insurance. That was, we were double counting part of it in between the two of us working on the budget together and not realizing. So I've corrected that number to the approved number from the Garing Group's proposal from the CRA meeting on the 3rd. I've also adjusted a couple of her capital items so to make sure we had the similar numbers. Total revenue didn't change. I've just shifted some expenses between categories. So of course, sorry. Of course, we filled a new position, and the budget has been updated for that person's salary and benefits. The COLA is in at 1.5%, the merit in at 3%, along with the increased costs for health insurance, dental, vision, life, and disability remain the same rates. FRS is in there for the full year, not just a partial year. Additionally, we decrease contractual services with the hiring of the new staff because she will now take over some of those marketing services that we contracted out when the position was vacant. And another reminder that the Bank of America loan, the CRA portion of $468,000 has been budgeted to be paid in full in this budget. We're trying to eliminate any debt the CRA has, so when they're ready to move forward with bonding, they have no debt, make the process a lot easier and less costly on our side. Are there any specific questions about the CRA?
Any questions? Commissioner Linden. Or I should say Board Member Linden.
New position that was filled, that was in that supplement that you gave us on Saturday.
Correct.
And there's nothing in the book about it. I see personnel services for a difference of $167,000, and I have no idea what we're. Go ahead. Community redevelopment.
167,000?
Yeah, I somehow came up with 167,697 from maybe the budget to last year's year-to-date actual activity.
Okay, so remember last year's year-to-date activity was one person, the code compliance officer. This year's budget's going to have
All right,
both
I
the
saw
code
that.
compliance
Saw that in there.
and
okay.
the marketing specialist. So when you look at the actuals for regular salaries, they were 58,603 for 24-25, and they're going to be 159,413 for 25-26.
Okay. The other one that jumped out at me on that was other line item number 90, other uses from this year's budget to last year's, if you would, $344,000.
Sure. If you look in other uses in the detail, the second line, transfer to general fund -ILA 2008, that's the Bank of America loan. It would be about $168,000, but because we're choosing to pay it off, that $468,919 is the full principal that's owed.
Okay. All right, last new position filled, is that other than the code officer?
The new position is the project marketing specialist.
Marketing person, right, okay. Is that in our book?
Project marketing coordinator. Yes, she's on the salary page.
Okay, got it, okay. All right. My question then, thank you very much, is there's a COLA adjustment and a 3% raise. Why would we give a brand new hire that?
So anybody that's on board at October 1 is entitled to the cost of living. That's the date it becomes effective. So since she has been on board for almost a month now, she would be entitled to that. Her 3% cannot occur until she's been here for 1 full year and had an evaluation. And she wouldn't be entitled to 3%. She'd be entitled to a percentage increase based upon her evaluation. So she could get 2.5. She could get 2.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that 3% is not a 3% fixed. It's up to 3%.
Up to 3%, and it occurs on your anniversary, or if somewhere along the way you've had a promotion, it then occurs on the anniversary of the promotion.
And the reason why I'm asking you to say that is because I know everybody that's looking at these documents sees that 3% and it screams out to them. But the understanding is upon evaluation, a percentage will be made based on the evaluation.
So
And that's correct.
right.
And the reason why we budget the full 3% is because we expect everyone to get 3%, but not everyone does. So it's based on their score of the evaluation is how it's prorated. And so if we don't budget the full 3% and they get the 3%, then we're short. So we have to budget. If they don't get the full 3%, that money stays in our personnel section of that fund until the budget closes out, and then it goes into reserves. So it's not just lost or anything like that. It goes back into our fund balance at the end of the year.
And just for future reference, for FYI, if we could put that as like a disclaimer as well, that would put more clarity as well to us, knowing that, yes, when we see that 3%, there could be like a star next to that, and it's saying that the disclaimer is saying up to 3% pending evaluation process.
And the other thing that doesn't translate well into here, and this position is a good example. She was hired in September. A year from now, September 26th, she'd be entitled to 3%. She's only going to have 3% for a month at the most. But we've budgeted the whole 3% for the year because it's just standard all the way through. So some people will get the 3% for the whole year. Some people will get it for 9 months, 6 months. It just depends on when their anniversary date is. But this way we have sufficient money available. If it's not spent, because in my instance with the probation, I won't have my annual review in September because now it will coincide with my probation change. So I will miss essentially an annual review actually it went from September to August, and now it will be next May. So my 3% is there, but it won't get used for the whole year.
All right,
Okay?
that's good. No, that's good. And this was in last year's budget for her being hired, correct?
Yes, we've been.
Current budget we're in.
She's in the current budget. We've been looking for her for a while.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else?
Vice Chair.
Thank you. I do get the 3%. Everyone's not budget for, we got a budget for the 3%. Everyone doesn't get it. Depends on your job performance. I do get that. I do have a question about a new employee that's with us for a month and the 1%. Cost of living. I get it. It's not something you deal with, Barbara. I know that's not your decision. It's kind of our decision. I think we probably should, in the future, look into that 1% and
The 1%, which one?
cost of living.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
I thought it's 1.5?
1.5.
1.5.
It's budgeted at 1.5.
Fine, I
We
just
have-
want to make
we
sure
have
that
an
was,
employee coming in, and they were actually looking at coming in, I don't know, say the 20th. But because of that time, what we did is we asked, can they come in, let's start October 1st or after. So we're mindful of it. In this case, they actually committed well before September. So it's hard to say to somebody, everyone else can get it, and you can't. So it's really up to us, I think, to say when the start date should be, rather than probably having a policy or anything. We should probably be mindful and say, let's kind of make sure it starts after if it's that close.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I get that because you don't want to give one person something and not give them all.
Yes, sir.
However, I think if we can come up with a system where when a new employee can get evaluated after the 30 days, and if the evaluation is good, and it's probably something I do in my other life, then we keep them or we go forward with them, and then we tack on, we budget for it. Of course, we have to budget for all of it, but then we tack on the 1.5.
Got it.
I don't think they should, just because they're hired, they should, how the job performance.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
what are they doing the necessary things that need to be done for the town and the residents?
Yeah.
Is the CRA booming? Is the CRA looking good? Like, what is your marketing strategy and that type of stuff? So,
Yeah, one of the things that we like to do when we get a second to do it is revise our entire personnel handbook, policy handbook. And I'd really personally like to see us go to a year probation period to where, 3 to 6 months we do exactly what you're talking about.
and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
okay. And actually, Board Member Linden.
Okay. On that same note, I understand that the 3% is on their anniversary date, and I'm okay with that. But while they're on that probationary period, I don't think that 1.5 should kick in at all.
Well, that's something that if we put that in the personnel policy handbook, that's something that, if we bring back to you, guys can certainly have that determination on how you'd like to do it.
And you mean that based on new hires? Just new
New
hires?
hires.
Yeah.
New
yeah,
hires, right,
Yeah.
right. Because I could see that being used as a incentive to hire that person. Here's your salary, what you're making, but also we're going to give you another 1.5 on top of that.
Well,
I want to eliminate that.
I could tell you how that does help, and you're not wrong on that, is that because sometimes we can't offer the same salaries as other places and where they're coming from, what we've been finding is since we've changed our entire hiring process, which again has saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like we've seen, we're getting 30, 40, 50, 60 applicants every single job. Gives us something to look at, whereas in the past, we were getting 1 or 2 applicants, and we were throwing money at that. Instead of looking at the process, which was really broken, we were looking at the salary and thinking it was the salary. And it was really the process that was broken here. And so by us looking at that and doing it differently, it allows us to then look at everything that we're doing. And we're looking at the entire process completely different. But when, and even with regards to when people are coming in, you know, we were asking people what it would take for them to come in. Now, because we have so many applicants, to go to your point, we're now telling them, here's where our base is. We can maybe go up 5%, depending on, you know, also the position. We may be able to go up a little bit higher, but there has to be justification as provided within in the personnel policy handbook. But it does give us some leverage to say, hey, you know, if they needed $5 an hour and we're only able to offer $4 an hour, because that's what our policy says, then we can let them know that we're going to be a lot closer in a month or 2 months or 3 months, and that gives us a little bit more leverage to bring in a really good candidate that's right there. So I'd really be cautious, you know, if we could, about limiting some of those opportunities. It's like, you know, it gives us the opportunity to bring in a really good employee as opposed to either leaving it open and not being able to provide the same level of service that our community, you know, expects, or we may not get the same level of person. So, you know, I'll do whatever you guys want, but I would just say, through my experience, I've seen that it's that cost of living sometimes, in this case 1.5, we'll be mindful. We don't want to just give it away, but it does give us some leverage to bring in some people when we can't pay them what they really want. But if we can get a little bit closer to where they are, because most people aren't going to come for less money. So we either have to deal with that and understand that, or we have that as a tool when we need it.
All right, our current hiring process is now going to be changed from what you
It has been. It has been significantly.
So in our current future, this budget segment, what are we offering them as far as when are we offering the 1.5?
After October 1st, we won't offer it at all.
Okay.
So it's only the only time that someone's going to get 1.5 is if they start before October 1st.
That's how my other place of employment is.
What I'm saying is like the position I was talking about, someone wanted to start on September 20th. We said, let's hold off for 10 days. We can wait 10 days, and we're not giving it. We're starting with their current base salary that we offered. But in the case that you're talking about now, this person actually accepted the job probably back in late July, August. It's hard to say that, you know, they've walked away from their job as though they shouldn't be eligible for it. Because if it's 1 month, then what is it going to be? Then do we say it's 2 months? At what point do we say that it's not eligible? And I would caution that that's probably somewhere where we may not want to go. We might want to be cautious. But I understand where you're going, and to have that built into the evaluation, in the probationary period, that makes sense too.
My thought, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
My thought is, and just like you're saying, is accountability,
Yeah.
especially for new employees. Prove you. I won't say prove your worth, but show us what you can do before we start issuing out money.
Yeah.
And so, but I get what you're saying now that this was before. I mean, leaving your job at July 21st, making a commitment.
Yeah.
I just looked at it at first as like, all right, we're giving up pretty much an $1,100 signing bonus to come on for an employee that's been here for 30 days. But looked like she committed way before 30 days.
All right, just for my own clarification, I want to make sure I got this right. Somebody applies for a job October 1st, after the, November, for whatever, after the budget is signed, all right? They do not qualify for that 1.5.
Right. If you start October 1st or later, you're not, no one would get the 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay,
And in fact, it'll be budgeted because the position's open, but that money will stay right in the budget. I think there's this idea that the money's just going to be spent. It doesn't. It stays in the budget, and then when it's not used, it just rolls right back into our fund balance, our savings account. So it helps us that the money's in there in case we need it, but we don't use it unless we're required to.
And
use
the
it.
COLAs, they're usually issued on on the latest paycheck of that month, correct?
No, it's normally on the one that's closest to October 1st.
Oh, it really
It's
is?
usually the one that contains the date October 1st.
Okay,
So
so we do it.
So it might
So my
be-
place of employment, we do it differently.
Well,
It's usually the latter.
typically it will be the second payroll in October,
Correct.
because it could be the first. It depends upon how the calendar falls.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, that's pretty much the key there, is if, like in that example, and that was a great example you gave, where if they got hired in November 1st, let's say, they're still waiting, that's that next October coming, that they would see that COLA, which actually would be even another budget cycle once they get to that, because they wouldn't even get it based on that budget cycle that they're in, getting hired.
That's
It
right.
would go to the next budget cycle.
And so would their cost, and so would their merit.
Correct.
Correct. Both of them would
Right.
be.
thank you,
You're
both of
welcome.
you.
Only because I have a similar place of employment.
But
Can I give you that?
There's,
if I could, real quickly, to go to the vice chair. What I've seen, what I've done in the past is you hold back 5% or 10% because after October 1st, how do you do the holdback? Because they wouldn't get the 1.5, they wouldn't get the COLA. So what I've always, understood, and the way I've done it in other organizations, is you may hold 5%, 10%, whatever that number is. 10's maybe a little bit, but then you say in that time period, and that's when you would give that money. So similar to what you're talking about. Yes, sir.
And that's pretty much what I'm saying. It's some kind of system to make sure we're getting the best out of the best.
That's right. You're making sure that they're the right person.
And that's very similar in my place as well.
all right. I have one other related question to that.
Continue.
It applies to the overall budget, but since we're here on the CRA, the old school thinking on budgets, if you don't use it, you lose it, all right? So if somebody has a fund in there with no specific title for, pick a number, 20, 25, 10, it doesn't matter to me, all right? What oversights are in place to give them money that's not actually allocated for a specified or specific item?
So just so I make sure I understand, so say we need a widget and it's not been budgeted and it costs $12,000. The oversight would be, at least today, in our procurement code, it would be required to come to you all for approval because it's over $10,000. If the procurement number changed, you would then, it would be no different than anything else, where the manager would then, anything under would require the manager's signature and making the determination, do we actually need that? And as long as we stayed within our budget and didn't, require a transfer or an amendment or anything like that, and it made sense to do it, then the manager would have the authority to approve that.
And that's coming up in future meetings?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm all set. Thank you.
No problem, thank you. For the record, Board Member Thomas is present for this meeting. And as you know, Board Member Thomas, this is our CRA meeting. And if you have any questions, I will open the floor to you and let you begin. If you need a minute, we could have Barbara give you a quick pro quo of what.
Just where we are. Just where we are in the.
Sure, we were talking about the CRA, since this is their budget meeting, budget workshop. I changed the insurance figure. I had to lower that because there was some double counting of a policy between Allison and I as we were doing the budget. So I've changed that, and I made some small changes along the way to a few other items. But the significant change was the insurance.
And that's mainly because we added another employee?
No, it actually went down.
Okay.
You know,
This was based on Garen's new credit that we talked about?
for
Okay.
September 3rd. So we always try to guess, because we'd rather guess 15% and have it only go up 10 than only guess 10% and have it go up 20. So we would rather start a little high until we have some better numbers, and we don't get them until late. So you'll find when we get to the first budget hearing on the general fund and the other funds, that in some instances the insurances went down because of this, and in others they went up because they went down, but then we had to take into consideration the outstanding claims.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yep.
All set? Okay. You pretty much answered some of the questions that I had
Okay.
as well. Again, I want to thank you for
Thank you.
giving us all the insight on this and providing us, most updated, accurate information when we have our dialogues and there are changes to make.
Thank you very much.
And I know it's early, but that summary sheet you also put in here? Change summary? Golden. You have it.
No, it was in the front.
Correct. It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
I thought you were
Okay. So I think there is no motion for this, if I'm not mistaken. There is a motion? I was just reading. I was looking at, hold on. I was looking at this. And it said recommended motion NA.
Then that's a typo. We should have a recommendation to recommend this budget, the CRA's fiscal year 2026 budget.
Okay. And that's fine. That's fine. That's just a typo.
This is
So thank you for the clarification. So I will entertain a motion. I'm sorry? Oh, thank you for that. Mr. Steinhauer, Mr. Barax, I believe your public comments are for this budget, or is it for the main? Yes, that's what I figured. Okay. So moving back to initial, I will entertain a motion.
One more point of clarification.
Okay, go ahead, Board Member Linden.
Outside the budget, it pertains to every line item. This was very nicely done. If I looked at this budget as a brand-new commissioner and had no idea what this stuff was, I would like to propose next year's budget more detail. All right? Example, when I turn the page, but Property of the Month award at $100 per month. We kind of all know what that is. But if somebody brand new had no idea, I would like something under there, even if it increases the number of the pages or the size of the USB, an explanation of where the money's going to go. This is awarded to one house per month to the residents for beautification or something like that. Because there's a number of items in here you have to take for granted what they're used for. And I want to bring it down to an elementary level for anyone and everyone looking through the budget. I don't think we, do we need a motion on that, or?
No, that's something just to provide feedback to her for her, and I saw her jotting notes down when you were telling her.
I said that before we took a vote, that's why. Thank
Correct,
you.
no, that's
Modify the
fine,
vote. so.
that's just fine.
All right, so
So-
we got a motion on the floor?
I'm waiting for a motion.
I thought you motioned that.
Nobody motion.
I make a motion to move to approve the CRA budget.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Okay. Allison's not here, so we don't have any CRA administrator comments. Executive Director, do you have any comments? Board members, do you have any comments? Okay. I will entertain a motion of adjournment, and then we will move on to the next meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
That's you, sir. You want a second?
I thought somebody seconded
He
it.
motioned.
Second.
You second. You going to second?
All right.
Second.
We have a second.
No, we,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, I was confused.
I was confused. That's easy to do when you're hungry and you haven't had dinner.
Yeah, let's take a 5 minutes. Oh, we have to wait till 6:30. We can't. I know, because it's been advertised.
Yes, because the advertised time.
Correct, because the advertised time. All right, so we will adjourn until 6:30. Thank you very much. This is the Town of Lake Park, Florida, first public budget hearing for Monday, September 8, 2025. The time is now 6:30 p.m. Can we have the clerk please make the roll call?
Commissioner Linden,
Here.
Commissioner O'Rourke, Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Vice Mayor Hensley,
Here.
Mayor Mashad.
Here. We're going to go ahead and bypass the Pledge of Allegiance since we did that earlier in our earlier meeting. We have nothing under special presentation and report. However, we do have 2 public comment cards, and I will first call up Mr. Michael Steinhauer. Let it be for the record also, Mr. Steinhauer, that we have distributed your testimony across the whole dais. Thank you.
Good evening, Michael Steinhauer, 435 Greenbrier Drive. You know, every time I come to a workshop meeting about the budget, I learn more. And I'm only a lowly resident, so I don't fully understand the scope that you guys have. But I will make some comments, and I hope you'll forgive any errors of judgment that may exist. In addition to my suggestions below, and as the budget document is hundreds of pages long, I'm seeking specific information about where in the document the cuts or savings are delineated. Like elective surgery, I seek elective lines items that do not necessarily have to be conducted this year. I'm thinking like the strategic vision plan costing $20,000, or the community center concept study costing over $100,000. I am against having to secure any more loans or depending on uncertain developer-related income to pay our bills. I seek quantifiable cross-outs, demonstrating our capacity to make bold decisions and protect our financial integrity. The ideas I've quantified are below, as simplistic as they may be. Number 1, freeze all town expenses. Approve a budget-neutral, 1-year austerity plan, with exceptions to contractual obligations. Don't budget for something you don't have guaranteed revenue for. There is no certainty about revenues from forest development. Manage the town's budget as if it were your own family's, and you knew that you were not getting a raise this year. No vacations and no stoves, thus no expenditures and new contracts. Or freeze all wages and salary increases, with the exception of union contracts, public works staff, the town manager, the mayor and the commissioners, and the statutory duties of those delineated in law, which include the clerk, the deputy clerk, and the finance director. Or no merit or COLA increases for any staff making over $100,000. That savings would be substantial. That includes 7 people on your payroll. Richard has indicated no new positions in the proposed budget. That's a start, but far from satisfying the need for deeper cuts across the board in our budget. Meeting after meeting, I perceive sanitation expenses to be out of control. It's just a perception. I support no new equipment or staff slots beyond what is previously approved in this austerity budget. Spending taxpayer dollars is very personal. It hits home even more than the feelings related to growth and development. I have supported you in acting boldly around P3 and the PADD proposals. Similarly, I ask or demand your courage to protect our town from further financial erosion and fragility. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. My final public comment card is with Mr. Pablo Perhax. And I believe you also have a PowerPoint as well.
While it's being pulled up, Pablo Perhax, taxpayer, and it's 2 slides. You've seen one of them before. You'll see a new one. There we go. As I said the last time, this is what I think the accurate representation of the organizational chart of the town of Lake Park is. Everything above the red line is mandated by the charter. Everything below the red line is discretionary and can be done away with, outsourced, or modified in some fashion. You notice I've included the IT department above the red line. It's not a requirement under the charter, but in reality, in today's world, the IT department is the actual custodian of the records of the town of Lake Park. The town clerk is the legal custodian of them, as is the deputy town clerk. Previously, I asked that the salaries of the town clerk and of the finance director be equated to that of the IT director. I don't see it in the budget. I read it again, so I'm objecting to the passage of the budget in the form that it exists. The deputy town clerk is also a town official, and I've requested that she be raised also. This is a chart that would take a lot longer to go through than I have time, but what I've done is I've gathered the data and made the calculations. The graphics were done by Susan LaFontaine, but the work is mine from the budget that I've listened to, very ably presented by Barbara Gould. These are the salary increases if you keep going the way you are with a 3% merit raise and a 1.5 cost of living adjustment raise. These are the salaries of the people below the red line, and the marina's not up there, that's a separate issue. But this is what the salaries will look like before you leave office. This cannot continue. Just look at it. There is a solution to that, though, and it's back to the first slide, because everything below the red line is not mandated by the town charter, and adjustments can be made in a fashion that will support not only what needs to be done in the town, but will satisfy the budgetary ability of the town to support itself. I will present more of that at the next meeting, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have on the new business, Resolution 630925, establish fiscal year 2025-2026 millage rate for operating expenses on the first reading. Is that correct on the first reading here? Okay, just to clarify. Thank you. And I will move things over to Ms. Barbara Gould. Ms. Gould?
Good evening, Barbara Gould, Finance Director. The budget that we've talked about in these past three workshops is based on a millage rate of 5.1 mils. At this point, you have the ability to discuss and debate and decide if that's where you want to be. We cannot go any higher than 5.1 mils, but we could go lower if that was your intent.
Okay. Are there any questions on this? Commissioner Thomas?
The only thing that I would have, I think, requested would be to see what the budget would be if it was to be reduced, you know? Like, did we have, okay, did I miss it?
No, we were expecting.
No?
We were planning.
You were expecting me to say that?
Not you.
Oh, you were expecting it to come up?
That
Okay, yeah, and,
That was sort of like in the event if it was brought up.
oh, look at that. Yeah, so it would just be nice to see what that would look like if it was to be reduced where we are right now, you know.
May I drop off?
Okay.
So as it's being distributed, for everyone to have an understanding. So if we went back, oh, sure. Not as a slide, no. No.
I'm sorry, I was asking the manager if we had this available on a slide so that the public could actually see what we were going to be discussing. No? Okay, no worries. Just, thank you. Thank you. We can?
I'll tell them you have it.
So Barbara, do you want to go through the?
Sure. So in the very left column, you'll see a millage rate of 5.1%. That's our current millage, and that shows you the amount of dollars we will receive. It's $6,269,629, of which $2,012,287 will belong to the CRA. Our rollback rate is the next column, and our rollback rate this year is 4.1768%. To roll back to that rate, the town would lose $916,629. You'll see that all the way down at the bottom. And the reduction in revenue would also reduce the CRA by $218,297. I pulled some other potential millage rates, 4.5, 4.8, 4.9, 5.0, to give you some idea of what changes would have to be made if we were going to reduce the tax rate and reduce the revenues.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor.
So Barbara, we will be losing a reduction, I should say, in any of the ones besides 5.1.
Lowering the millage rate below 5.1 will result in a deduction.
And last year, millage rate was 5.1, correct?
We kept it exactly
Like
the
the
same.
same.
Yes.
Okay.
And any decrease would contribute to additional need for reserve dollars, which is a one-time, non-recurring fund to support our recurring costs, which is, as you know, we've used ARPA money, and that's one of the issues.
So we will, if we roll it back, we could take care of it this year, but when we have a problem next year, pretty much.
If we don't receive the 1.2 million as we've projected, we're planning to come back and utilize reserve dollars. This would, if we were to roll back at all or roll all the way back, that would almost double the amount of need for reserve dollars.
1.2 million. Okay.
So if you roll back to the 4.1768, we have to reduce the budget by $916,629 or use fund balance to balance the budget.
Wait a minute. What is that number again? 900 and
In the second column.
916, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I thought you said 9. It's a different number, but that's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe I did.
Yes, ma'am. My apologies. I was waiting on that.
It's okay.
Commissioner Linden.
If we had buttons up there, you could know,
No.
When we do the remodel, we'll get some buttons up, like they do at the county,
Yeah.
I take a different look and perspective at this. Just about everyone that I speak with in the town, the 5.1 is very doable. When you break the dollars down, and if you brought it down to 5.0, the average resident would not save a whole bunch of money.
Yes, sir.
A couple $100,
Yeah.
if that. Maybe.
If that, maybe.
I'm saying if that, I'd have to actually do it.
Yes, sir.
So, but for every 4,000 homes that are here, what are 3,500 homes or whatever the case may be, 9,000 residents, about 3,500 homes, families. that would have a significant impact to our money that we get in. So in a perfect world, we could get down to 5, it would be a good number, but I'm totally okay for 5.1. I get more complaints on the other funds, the sanitation and storm and water, because as I had said once before, when you add up those three costs, it's equal to within a few dollars of what the residents are paying for ad valorem. So we need to address those. Way back when they took huge hits and increases, and so maybe next year we'll look at that. But the point I wanted to make, we're broke, all right? The town of Lake Park is in trouble, and that trouble's been coming on and on and on. We've buried ourselves in money, speculation money. We're going to speculate, just like the stock markets, okay, when it goes south. And some of us were on the commission at that time, some weren't, doesn't matter. But it all goes back to how the town was run. Zero, I repeat, zero reflection on you. This was prior to your time. And now that we have to go into reserve funds, if we have a major catastrophe, call it whatever you want, because we don't got a whole lot of money left in that reserve. All right, a couple million maybe at most somewhere. It's probably a good guesstimate. We get a couple hurricanes, we're going to wipe that fund out. All right, potentially wipe it out. So now we have no money. So now our only alternative, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we're going to have to go out and borrow money, which gives us another loan payment to pay. What is our credit rating, by the way? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. It's been so long since we've gone out for new money.
We had a great one at one time. I don't.
Yeah, normally, it changes based on, your financials. So we would need to go out and go through that exercise to have it determined. So even if we had it 10 years ago, it probably would be different today.
Okay.
So.
Well, my point being, there were some mistakes made, ARPA money and future money and speculation, that everything was based on that, and none of it came through. We have nothing coming through this year, possibly, Nautilus, if they get up and running, okay? But if they don't, we got some money next year. Avalon is 2 years down the road, 1 year.
What is your question?
Avalon, the
Probably-
new project.
Oh, Avalon.
Probably 2 fiscal
Avalon
years.
Bay.
Avalon Bay,
Yeah.
Probably 2 fiscal years.
Yeah.
27.
27 they'll complete.
Actually, it would probably be fiscal year 28 because they probably won't be done.
Just understand everything, and that's, you're talking in reference to the property appraiser in terms of them putting online the buildings. Everything is related to what's the status as of January 1.
Right.
So in the case of, let's just use Nautilus, for example. If Nautilus receives a temporary CO or a CO prior to January 1 of this coming 2026 year, now you're talking budget fiscal year 26-27. Because it's not coming into the budget that we're approving for this year. So it's always look at it as a budget cycle ahead and not the budget cycle as it's been voted on.
Point being, thank you, good.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Point being, we're out of money, okay? We don't have the revenue coming in, and when you don't have revenue coming in, you've got to make some drastic changes. We have enough now to sustain this one, but if we could make some cuts throughout the budget, really be slim. Don't forget that for a second. When budgets are run, if they're given a free hand, the departments to do, but if they're given a cap off of last year, they have to work under that cap. That could have saved us some money. Could possibly do it now because there is some things out there. So what can we look at to make major cuts. Can we find $200,000 to avoid salary increases? I don't know. I think it's in there. It would be cutting a lot of things out. And as we go through some different departments, I'll point a few out. All right.
This right here is talking about just the millage itself, as far as setting the millage. I know if you want to go deep into the budget more, we'll do that at the next, in the next.
All right, then let me, all right, I'm in favor of the 5.1. I can't see any reason to go below that because we don't have enough money to sustain this year.
Okay, all right,
I'll get into that deeper later on.
thank you. Vice Mayor?
No, I'm also in favor of the 5.1.
And actually, I am as well. And with some of the reasons that you've highlighted, I think going down would put a cripple to the budget, and as well as the reserves, more importantly. And that's not something I'm willing to take a chance on. So I do have. If you have no other questions, you do have a question. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Thomas.
If we don't, okay, because the 5.1 mil, okay, and I see the layout here of what the taxable value would be and what we'd be collecting, and then, of course, what is then owed to the CRA, right? That's that too?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Is that's with the thought that we would collect what is out there from forest development? No?
No.
No, this is just strictly on what is based on this millage.
This is based upon what the property appraiser's office has sent us.
Appraised values, okay, that's what we would actually get.
Right.
Okay, and okay, so then that 2 is actually TIF, right?
The
TIF,
218?
yeah,
Yes,
that, okay, yeah, right? That's actually 2, that 2,012,000, right? That's TIF,
Correct.
okay. No?
So, no, I was just going to say, we budget 95% of the tax revenues, not 100%, because that's more realistic of what we get. And somewhere down the road, we will get that other 5%. I don't know if it'll be 3 years from now or 10 years from now. So we do receive delinquent money occasionally, and that's why we budget at 95% to be conservative.
So in essence, what the town operating on that would be 4.2,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay, because the other 2 is CRA TIF dollars.
Correct.
Okay. Right?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm that understanding in my head. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, I do have a public comment card that I will allow the person to speak on this, which is for this specific agenda item. Mr. Perhacs, please commence.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, in that everybody's in agreement of the 5.1, I'm going to withdraw. No, I'd like to mention quickly. Everybody wants to know where money comes from. On December 12th, 2019, a former commission signed an agreement with Forest Development for the construction of the Nautilus building. Paragraph 23 of that agreement has very specific timelines in it, which required Forest Development by the words, "It shall complete the development." Giving Forest the benefit of the doubt, they are 15 months late. During that time, the town has spent $750,000 for law enforcement, which I approve of. The town is going to spend another $750,000 this year, and if Forest doesn't come through, that's $1.5 million. Keep the millage rate the same, but look into recovering that first $750,000 from Forest Development for their failures to comply with paragraph 23 of the agreement. ARPA money was used for the first year. There's no ARPA money this year. That would be my suggestion. There's $750,000 that you might be able to recover. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was all the public comment card I have for this agenda item. If there are no other questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 630925, establishing the fiscal year 2025-2026 millage rate operation, and authorize the mayor to execute the resolution.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The resolution passes unanimously. Item number 2, Resolution 640925, fiscal year 2026 budget, all funds for the town of Lake Park. Ms. Barbara Gould, please continue.
Thank you. After the third budget workshop, we took the comments, we took updated revenues, and we went back and inserted those items into the budget and made changes along the way. I reprinted all the necessary pages, but again, it's a lot to look through when it's not marked as to where you're looking. So I did provide a summary, and just in general for all the funds, special pay, there was a comment about special pay and what is it. So the telephone, the vehicle, and the longevity stipends are all now marked as special pay dash what longevity, telephone, whatever, it's there to be more clear. The deduction retirement dash FRS, it was unclear whether that was town or town and employee. So again, that was changed. Insurance, after the September 3rd commission meeting, we had solid rates from Garing Group on our workers' comp and liability insurances. We also had a phone discussion with them earlier that week about potential claims and the amount of money that may be involved. So we adjusted the expenditure numbers for the insurance, which caused them all to decrease because their numbers came in lower than what we had originally budgeted. When we turn around and factor in some of the potential claim money, it caused an increase in sanitation, marina, and the general fund for the outstanding claims. So in some cases, the number ended up going up. On the general fund, we increased the revenue for communications service tax. We increased balance brought forward, which is fund balance, for 2 items, the strategic plan and the gunshot detection system. Those are both budgeted in 2025, and neither of them will end up being paid before September 30. So those will roll into 2026, so we're rolling the money into fund balance to be able to pay those at that point. The gunshot detection system is now going to be billed through PBSO to us. So we're waiting for that to actually happen, and it's not going to make it before year end. Transfer in from Marina. So if we are incurring additional legal fees relating to the P3 agreement, we're asking the Marina to give us some of their fund balance toward that fee. So if no lawsuit results, no transfer will have to be made. The Marina will keep its fund balance and we will not expend the legal fees. When you get on to the next section, which is individual budgets, I tried to give you the account number, the account name, and what happened. So, for example, in town manager, promotional activity, the property of the month award is now broken out at $100 per month for a total of $1,200 for the year. In human resources, there's little changes for rounding in some of the workers' comp numbers, and you'll see little bits of that. I know there was one in my department as well. In the town clerk, I made no changes. In the legal department, we had the $400,000 budgeted for potential P3 Marina legal fees. We moved it onto its own separate line. So now you'll have our town attorney, his normal budget. We'll have the P3 Marina at its budget. and you approved on the 3rd participating in the SB 180 legal lawsuit. So we also budgeted the $10,000 in legal fees that we'll need for that. So, and then there's another $2,000 in there in case we incur court costs or court reporter costs or some other small items there. So you've got that broken out. I made no changes in communications and grants. In information technology, there was a small decrease to travel and training once we got a little bit more updated information on the courses to be attended. And in Department 200, public safety, again, reiterating that the gunshot detection system for 25-26 is increased because of 25 expenditures that have not yet been paid. I made no changes for emergency management, public works administration, grounds, facilities, or vehicles, or community development. In Department 600, special events, I had let you know that the tree lighting ceremony had been left out of Rianiti's budget, so we've added that in there. Additionally, there are no changes in the library. For Department 900, general government, that's where we're budgeting the strategic plan, again, because it is not likely to be paid before September 30, so we're going to use the fund balance to bring that over and budget that expense there. Insurance, that's the entire general fund's liability. We don't break it up into individual departments, so it's all right there. And again, that decreased. The insurance storage tank went up about $60-ish, so we changed that. And transfer out to streets and roads. Streets and roads is actually part of the general fund. We separate it out so we can track the dollars better. If the streets and roads budget does not have sufficient funds to do what it needs to do, it's up to the general fund to support them. Originally, I had budgeted about $35,000, and I was able to drop that to $31,000. And contingency commission, that is just money that is not allocated and will drop to fund balance unless you agree to spend it on something.
Mr. Mayor.
Town manager.
Thank you. Also, just a couple things just for your reference and understanding. Although they're in our budget still as placeholders, there are at least 4 positions that have not been filled that we're freezing. So those dollars are budgeted, but they're not planned to be spent unless we determine that there's an absolute need and funding is available. One of them in particular is the assistant town manager position. So that's a significant dollar amount. If you go into the budget, under the town manager's budget, by not filling that position alone, I can't see it. Is it 193 or 183?
Hang on, let me just get there.
I'm sorry, I just can't see tonight. That's
$193,244.
In salary and
Benefits
and costs.
as the grand total.
Yeah.
Right, so there are a number of areas like that although we're proposing to keep in the budget, it's not proposed to be utilized at this time. Additionally, just for your information, as of August 1st, there was direction out to all of the staff, all the departments, to freeze all spending except for unnecessary or necessary spending. So we've been working, since, we've been working on this budget to look at a number of different areas. The town manager budget, the assistant town manager, as you know, that salary was a much higher number previously. It's been brought down, so that savings is also there on top of the 193. A number of the salaries, because salaries are a majority of our, and personnel are probably 70% of our budget. So that's really where we're looking at in a lot of different areas. As people come on, we are really looking at bringing them in at the base of the job of the pay grade. So we've been doing that since I've come on. We've been following our personnel handbook. In a lot of cases, there have been a couple areas where we've increased in some areas, but most everyone that we're bringing in is at the base. So we've made a number of changes in those areas, and we'll continue to do that as we evaluate process and priorities as we go on. Being here only 8 months and dealing with some of the major issues that we've been dealing with, it's something it's a little bit more difficult, or it's been difficult, but I anticipate working with staff. Staff's been great about looking at things and being willing to look at things. As an example, Tyler had a very significant conversation with them on Friday and notified them that we do need to be very aggressive in our renewal and reducing down cost. So we're going to continue to do that all throughout. There's not specific identified, I can go through, but we also, because the budgets just aren't set up that way to just maybe do that. But I can assure you that when you look at each budget and we put in the percentages, many of them are either below or just just a little bit above because of certain reasons, and the justification outlines that. And our staff has done a really good job in trying to toe the line or keep the line where we were last year. And we'll continue to fight for new development that makes sense for our community so that we can offset some of the costs. We'll continue to, when a position's open, we'll evaluate whether we need that position. We'll look at the priorities that it meets. Can we utilize electronics or technology to offset the need for that position? And if so, if not, then that's when we'll fill the position. But we're looking at things a lot differently, and you can see that in the procurement position and a number of other positions that we've looked at, and we're reclassifying them to be more functional for what we think we need going forward in today's modern environment and meeting the service levels that our community needs. It's going to take some time. It would be shocking to just cut, and I think we'd get a lot of concern with some of that. And on top of it, it takes time to figure out what we need to work on, and a lot of times it may not be cutting, it might be reevaluating and moving and shifting, and so I can assure you that's something that we're working hard on, and we're going to continue over the next year. So.
You stated that you put a freeze back in August. Will that continue on into the new budget?
In the new budget, we'll be cautious as we are all the way through, but we wanted to get through this year in the black, and then we'll evaluate as we're seeing our revenues come in. And one of the things that we're going to be working on, and I've asked Barbara to do this, I'd like to see us on a monthly basis have the opportunity where, as a group, we're sitting down looking at our budgets on a monthly basis, if not more, and evaluating where we stand within our operating and capital side. Our personnel side, one of the other things that we've stopped doing is utilizing temporary labor, which is something that we've used when we've needed positions filled. Because of our change in process, we're now filling positions a lot quicker. So that's been a cost that now we'll be able to save as well. But again, we'll evaluate our budgets on a monthly basis and have the expectation that if we need to slow down, we will.
Okay. Commissioner Linden, I'm going to start on your end if you have any questions.
Well, I'll pick up from where I went before. It's nice to forecast and think what we're going to do next year. Our problem's this year. So we have to address the problem this year. And each department, as I went through it a couple times, there's room to slash a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And if we can get enough, we then no longer have to worry about reduction in pay or laying people off or losing that position. My concern is we're going to get so far deep that we're going to lose part of our staff because we can't pay them. All right? So, just as an example, I'll take your budget. There's not a lot of room, but there's this is 104 or 48,000 promotional activity for $10,000. So I took a look at that and said, well, what can we do? Well, we agreed that the property of the month should go up, and I'm behind that. That cost us $1,200. Promotional items, they're always nice to have, but we're giving out 100 gift cards at $100 each for $7,800. If we cut that, that's more money than we have employees. So if we was to cut that in half, again, I'm not looking for big dramatic cuts. But when you start adding up 3,000, 5,000, 2,000, 10,000, you'd be amazed how quick it comes together. If you live within the budget at home, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you got to start cutting, you know, you don't cut the cost of going to the grocery store. You try to control it a little better. You go out, instead of 2 times a month to go to dinner, I'm going to go out 1. So there's ways throughout this budget with little cuts to avoid layoffs, terminations, pay cuts, or no increase. It's going to take a lot of work, but they're there. So if only 50 employees got a gift card, that's not as bad as losing your job because you can't pay them the money. So,
Well, just for the record, there's not any proposed, and there never has been, to lay off, cut, reduce any of that. So I would hate for our staff to maybe think that that's something that's being considered, unless that's what you guys are wanting to do, because in this budget, we've not proposed that at all. With regards to the gift cards, we can certainly do that. That's something that you guys have historically funded for a number of years as an opportunity to provide something. I think not only who is the 78? Is that the employees and the commission who receives that?
Well, between the employees and the commission, we're like at 69 right now.
So
the 78, we've always had a couple of extras because throughout the year there have been a couple of instances where we gave out a gift card, and I can't think of a reason why it from in the past, but we've used a few, and if not, they roll over to the next year.
well, gift cards were given away for a variety of reasons.
well, these are specific, I think, for Thanksgiving. This is a Thanksgiving gift card that all the employees get and the commission would get. And that's, I think, historically what's been provided. So we didn't change anything.
You've got a gift card for Thanksgiving
Pardon me?
in the past?
What?
Is that
No,
correct?
Is that correct? You've gotten a gift card in
Oh,
the
no,
past?
I've never got a gift card.
The commission, I think last year was their first year getting a gift card. Prior to that, they did not.
We've had Christmas parties where we've had gift cards on a tree,
Correct.
and they were just randomly pulled off. All right, so my point is, we're running thin. I'm not saying we need to or have to lay people off, not yet in this year. But if we don't have money coming in next year, we got a problem. It's that simple, all right? You just don't have enough money to pay. You've drained your resources, and if you don't have a increase in flow, money coming in, something's got to go, you know. And I'm trying my best to avoid that. I guess what I'm thinking is that if every department head re-looked at their budget and got out of the way of thinking, this would be nice, this is what I have to have, this is what I need, or boy, that's a nice wish, okay? And if we did that, I truly believe that we could slim down this year. I don't know what next year is going to bring, okay? If Nautilus goes through, a lot of ifs, all right? But this year is what I'm dealing with, not next year, the year after. We need to trim it this year. So that's one of, others that I have in here, and I'll be glad to give some examples, but I'm not expecting you, Barbara, to do it alone, all right? I don't expect the commissioners within 8 days to our next meeting, 8, 9,
Yeah.
our next budget
It's
meeting.
the 18th, I believe.
10 days,
10
all
days,
right?
yeah.
We're here to approve it, all right? So if we can look at a slimmed down budget, it's sure going to look a lot easier to keep more money in the reserves, that's all. Without affecting staff, all right? Or at least in a minimal way, is all I'm saying. So please don't take it the wrong way. If you've got to lose something this year, maybe we bring it back next year. And that was just one that happened to be we're on the town manager, so I brought that one up, that's all.
I understand.
And I know we supply uniform and clothing allowance for everybody in every department, all right? So maybe instead of 2 or 3 shirts next year, everybody gets enough to get 1 new town shirt. I think that a logoed piece of clothing, when a resident comes in, goes a long, long way. It's huge, all right? But I know if we don't use it, then we put it back in. But I'm going to go back to the old adage, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And that mentality's got to go away, all right? It's, what do I need? Do I really need a shirt? You know, I've got 6 already. Do I need another one? No, then stuff like that. So that's all I'm looking for each department to do. And we're late in the game, with no adjustments to salaries, with no addition to increasing any salaries other than the 3 and the 1.2.
1.5.
1.5, thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
That's okay, all right? So people that have special pay for special reason. One in here, $3,000 for special pay. Well, there's a reason for that, longevity and so forth. And I appreciate longevity. They can do us more good than they could harm versus a new person. So, I'm sorry, Barbara,
I just want to follow up on your uniform. It was a very good example. Typically, in past years, we budgeted an allowance of $150 per position for each department. And it was use it or not. This year, except for the Marina, Public Works, and the code compliance officers who actually wear, or are required to wear a uniform, we let departments pick their budget. In some instances, it was $0. In some instances, it was $100 for 3 people. So we did try to rethink things going forward. In finance, I mean, I have 2 shirts. One lady doesn't want to wear a shirt at all. And so we kind of budget appropriately instead of assuming.
well, that's a good idea, because here, again, I'm just looking at the town manager's one. Town manager, assistant town manager, and executive assistant, $200 each.
Right.
All right. Zidell does a nice job, but I don't know if they're the best company for us with their pricing. I don't know if we've ever gone out to bid outside of Zidell. Yeah.
Some of the other departments use different vendors, so I don't know that they're any more or less expensive. But with a new assistant town manager coming in, we would want that person to have the opportunity to get some shirts. Town manager typically will wear a shirt most every day, so we want to make sure, with the logo on it.
Point being,
So we
have
wanted
to
to make
look-
sure there was adequate. And if you look at the line item for uniforms, you'll find that some departments didn't use their allotment, and some used all of it.
okay. Well, again, I'm looking to take little bits. do not endorse or encourage taking it away. On Saturday, Commissioner Hensley and myself happened to run into each other down at the event at Kelsey Park. And we had shirts on, and it got the recognition that we expected, all right? And it was nice. Oh, you're from the town. You know, you feel good, and they feel good because you give them a card, it's even worse. Now they know somebody in town, you know. But we'll get into later on about the potential Santa Claus ride with the, did you see that? With the little train that was down there? No, I didn't. Oh my goodness, it was, something was ever built and designed for Santa. That was it, okay? And I'm not going to go through line item by line item. That's not the idea. The point being, each department, I would highly suggest, given a time frame, to look at their budget and see how much they can reduce it. We got one more shot at this, and that's in 10 days. And then we got to have a budget that's turned in. You know, so when's our deadline for the budget?
The 18th.
When do we got to turn it in?
We have to have it to where we have to advertise. We have to advertise our budget, our rolled, our budget. Vivian, what's the date of our final advertisement? No, the date that the advertisement goes out.
14th or 15th, I don't remember.
But we have, what I would recommend, and this is what I would suggest, is that
2 to 5.
is that, again, we're going to be looking at a lot of these areas. I get that we want some finality up front. We're now in a position where maybe we can approve the budget, go forward, and then come back in a month and show you where that is, where those changes and cuts have been. And then we can do something, because I'm just concerned that to try and get what you're asking for that quickly, with everything else that staff is trying to get done, it may be very, very difficult. I mean, we'll do it. We'll do what you need.
Our primary job as a commissioner, the top of it, is the budget. We approve things throughout the year, disapprove them, and so forth. But the one thing that's on the top of the list for all of us is the budget. And I'm assuming, and I shouldn't say I'm assuming, I know it's on the top of your list, okay? With the restless sleep and you and Barbara working Saturday delivering, thank you for delivering these to the house on Saturday. I mean, that was just, that's above and in the rain.
Great job to your driver, by the way.
Exactly.
That was a big key, was your driver getting you right up to the door as close as you can to make it.
But I was promised a golf cart ride.
He was promised a golf cart, so
I don't think golf cart would have been appropriate at that point in time.
Probably not.
Considering it was pouring rain, but I did my best.
So in between football games, I'm going through this. That's football weekend, and so all weekends now are football. But okay, so the point being, if we could get there, staff can do this. If they can move something not quite as proprietary there and put this top of their list, we could come back and look at a revised budget. Barbara, this was probably one of the easiest things. That was the one with the changes. And Judith recommended that. I'm here to tell you, that saved me hours on end without having to go through every page, hours. So that's it. I mean, if you want more examples, I'll be glad to. There's a few I want to touch upon that are critical, but for right now, that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you. And I will ditto the fact that, Barbara, when I saw you in the pouring rain, my heart just totally went out. Both because the mayor was driving you and because you were out in the rain.
Is that scary, huh?
But, the mere fact that he was driving you in the rain, and it wasn't in the golf cart, so you did have some shelter from the rain. Okay, now to
Without an umbrella, too. You didn't have an umbrella.
That's true.
I had
I
a
was hoping that
raincoat
she
with a
wouldn't
hood.
catch a head cold.
You know what? I'm just going to say the mayor drove you in the rain.
And
True.
I
From
appreciated
this
it.
dais, it
The-
was myself.
It was the mayor, because he did make sure that we knew that it was the mayor. So thank you, Mayor. So Barbara and the town manager, this is difficult, you know, and I made some notes to myself, okay? I was one of the individuals who was very disappointed that we approved the increase for law enforcement. Not that we didn't need it, but I was one of the ones, of course, last year that was very concerned about how we were going to pay it. And nevertheless, we have law enforcement, and we all need that. So it's not a issue for it, but it is an issue now because I was afraid of what we were going to be coming to. So that's a concern. However, I made some notes to myself, and I looked at positions that were open, and especially big positions. And I am of the opinion of us freezing positions with the exception of we need an assistant finance director because that was a lot for you to just tow on your own. I heard the manager saying that we needed a procurement specialist. And so I would be in favor of having a procurement specialist as well. I think we could hold on the senior accountant, in my opinion. I'm not in your office, I don't know, but I would think that there's probably more of a need for the assistant finance director, and you would have that conversation. But I looked at that, and the salary and just the burden that it's on you, and the fact that we will need the procurement specialist that would be buying and selling and being in charge of that. I looked at the assistant town manager position and feel that that can definitely be on ice. However, I also thought, too, that I would look at increasing the salaries for the town clerk and for the finance director to bring it in line with the other executive positions. However, I would freeze any additional, and I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with the merit or the COLA for the executive. I'm looking probably more for COLA, cost of living, but my position is like to just freeze because of not getting the amount of funds that we would have typically wanted to do. I looked at Public Works in regards to how many more employees that we need, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Morales, but I think you were missing 3? You were down 3, or you were down 4? Okay. That's better than 8, right? Weren't you down 8 before? Okay, so we're halfway there, aren't we? Okay. And we've given the trucks. So we have trucks, and we have gone up by 4. And so unless you desperately need, I would say we freeze that as well, because then we have, no. What you saying? Looking at me like, okay. Come on up here and talk for yourself.
I apologize that I'm chewing. I'm hungry.
Okay.
So the 4 positions that we have, 2 are for stormwater.
Yes.
We just got 2 men shop.
Yes.
And we have 1 for street and roads, which we don't have nobody on street and roads.
Uh-huh.
And the other 1 is sanitation.
Okay, so sanitation will pay for itself.
Yes.
Stormwater will pay for itself.
And the street and roads is already budgeted for.
Okay, so you have 2, so you would have,
No, no.
so
1, street and roads.
street and roads,
2 in stormwater.
that's going to get paid.
Yeah, and 1 in sanitation.
Okay, so really the only, 4 will get paid for in the enterprise funds that we have.
3.
3 will be get paid for in the, so it's really just streets and road is that one person that we have no one in.
Yes, we did recommend to hire now.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's still vacant, so.
no, but I mean, you gave them a notice. I mean, you gave them a slip to say we would hire you, you provided an offer.
Yes.
You did offer.
Yes, but it's still vacant, but yes.
No. Okay, so then what does that mean then with those 4? You still have 4 that's still vacant, or you would be full by then?
No, hopefully we want by the end of this fiscal year.
Yes.
We want to be fully vacant.
Okay,
But we're still posting for 2 for stormwater and 1 for sanitation,
Okay,
besides the other one that's already in.
but those,
Oh, sorry, and 1 more for facilities. I apologize. Bill, because Bill left.
okay.
Thank you, Barbara.
Mr. Morales, please don't confuse me.
No,
Okay, so I want to make sure, I'm focused.
So we have 1 in facilities.
Okay, 1
vacant.
facilities, there's no enterprise fund that's covering that.
No.
So that would have to be town. Town would have to look at completely funding that.
Yes.
Okay.
1 in street and roads,
Again, that's not
general
being
fund.
funded through any enterprise zone.
general fund.
So
Well,
that's
that's
general.
gas tax, but it comes from.
That's general. We'll just put that over here.
General.
Uh-huh.
And then the other 3 are enterprise.
Okay, those are enterprise.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, of the 2 that's not filled, we don't even have a person in it.
Not right now.
Yeah. No one in there. That's road, streets and road. We have no one in there.
No street and roads and 1 facility, which was Bill, that left.
Yeah. And so actually, both of them, we have no. Those 2 positions, okay. Okay, so that answers that. Okay, well, so I'm going on. Thank you for my diatribe. Thank you for saying that. But I would be looking at positions like that, in my opinion, okay? When we're looking, and I want to see more of our street and road employees, our union employees in that manner, specifically our public works guys, because they're out there. And I would love to see more of an increase, with that. But for right now, if I'm going to look at positions and how I'm going to try and save funds, because I've looked at it and we're really, really tight here, that would be my suggestion. My increase would be for my town clerk and my finance director, because as I look at it, they're warranted, and I look at it comparatively to the other departments where there's a necessity. I'm just tackling with COLA, cost of living. I'm okay with sanitation because I'm okay with stormwater, and I was going to say, ooh, Mr. Morales, I noticed something on the road on, today is Monday, Sunday, the corner of Silver Beach and US 1, going west. There is so much pooling there. And here's the thing, that it's only about 10 feet away from an actual stormwater drain, and it's not running there at all. And I was gonna say that, I don't know what that issue is. I don't know if it's high tide, what that is there, but.
So on that area, I will have the team assess. Nevertheless, any drainage within US 1, it's under the purview of FDOT. We have communicated to them that based on the improvements that they're going to commit or perform on US 1, we suggested they look into the drainage system because they need to improve that system before they do the further improvements to US 1. Nevertheless, we never got any communication back in that regard.
So you were kind of aware of that as well?
Well, if it's the one that I believe so, that's more tending to US 1, yes.
Yeah, it's because it's been pooling a lot. The only reason why I said that is because for the longest, our community had no stormwater drainage plan, and so we finally got a case where we have started collecting for that so that we can have the design and actual improvements. So in a sense, it's paying for itself. And so to reevaluate that, I think we're doing a really good job, and we just completed that wonderful job over there with storing all that water for the southern outfall. Now, as I look, especially with this deluge of rain that we've been having lately, north of Park Avenue needs to be looked at, and I know that's in the plan. And so moving or changing, stormwater is not it's a mute issue because we've already adopted it and we already have a schedule, okay? And sanitation has been moving along because now you got some trucks, right, that we can at least program for.
Okay. So we're programming to get the trucks.
But I mean, but we collecting the money.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So and then finally, did them trucks? No, we won't know until December, right?
December, we start getting the new
You heard me
units,
saying,
2
did them
units,
trucks come in?
and one for stormwater,
Yeah.
and 2 for sanitation.
Yeah. Okay. And my vegetation was picked up today, so I'm real happy. It does. It looks really bad. It doesn't. It looks deplorable when you have bulk that's out there and you also have vegetation. It just doesn't, look like we're unkept. But I just really wanted to say that as I look at it, and thank you for doing a really good job, both you and Barbara, on this. You, as regards to, programming, for some of the improvements that we see that's coming along. And so I want to be certain those would be, if once we fill those positions, it's not even 4, it's 5. And 3 is already being paid for, and the other 2 we need because one is to refill the position, and the other one is that we don't have anyone in that position at all.
That's correct.
So actually, you need those positions. Those are required position in order for us to move forward.
I have to give credit to all the team, Public Works team. So even though I'm here, they deserve all the credit. They have been doing their best to maintain these areas, but literally they need this support to come in for us to be able to balance everything out.
Yeah. Okay. I think those were my notes. Assistant Finance Director, procurement, increase, town manager, assistant town manager position. We could, because I think I came up with about 300,000.
Yeah,
I think I came.
the positions that we're looking, that we've identified are the assistant, the procurement, even though we need that out of all of them. I've asked Barbara. She feels that the senior accountant is one that she needs above. So yeah, we've gone through this analysis, and that's where we've come up with the 4. And so these savings are, already identified. They're just not removed because we're not taking the positions out. We're just administratively freezing them. And so as I've spoke to most of y'all already about this privately, these are things that we are working to do. But we leave them in here in case we do need them so that we don't have to come back and deal with it later. So again, we'll continuously go through the budget and identify areas that we don't need to spend dollars. And I can assure you there'll be questions. Why do we need to spend it? And looking at things differently. It's just very hard to do it all at one time. And we just, frankly, I need time to evaluate what we're doing. And with all the big major issues that we've been dealing with over the last 7-8 months, it's been hard to do that. But I think our staff, again, has been willing to do that. They've done it through the budget process so far to where they've either maintained or some of them have, been able to reduce, and we'll continue to do that. As professional staff, that's what we're required to do for you all and for the community.
Only one last thing I wanted to say, too, and because, too, I look at it, we're going to get a major hit because of the half-cent tax, sales tax, that we're not going to be collecting anymore. That was almost $1 million. That we're not getting.
And we funded non-recurring expenses with that. So yes, so we only funded for a certain period of time, and then we're not funding after that, and certainly a number of our capital are not funded using it. In fact, if you notice, we're very slim throughout our capital this year, because that's normally in any organization, that's normally where you go first, is you look at those capital items, and our staff has been very, very conservative in what we need to fund. And one of the reasons why we're utilizing a number of why we're using CRA funding, which we've not used before for a lot of that infrastructure cost,
'Cause
we're
it's in the
just looking
CRA.
at things a lot differently, and we'll continue to do that so that service levels continue to be high, but we're looking at different opportunities to fund and find different areas.
Okay, there's only one fund that I didn't see in here, and I'm asking that it be included in here, okay? And that's called the Candy Fund. So like the Candy Chocolate Fund, okay? And the Candy Chocolate Fund, I'd like to have like Snickers in it, peanut M&Ms. I'm thinking that it will probably cost us $200 for the year. So, if we can have
How much is left in that jar?
like, it's not Reese's Pieces, so the request is the Candy
Sooner.
Fund
But we'd be happy to
Okay.
do that.
that could have the Snickers and certainly peanut M&Ms, so
We-
that when I come by, I could have, what else is that one? Oh, and Twix. That could work too. And if it could be available up in the city manager's office, or at least somewhere here on the dais. Thank you. Maybe that can go under special fund. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Don't write that down.
I wrote it all down.
Just joking.
I agree with most of what Judith said. You're adding money in there. We need to reduce money.
But it's already in there.
It's not. For some of the things you wanted, it's not. So if we could find the money by reducing the budget in a department, then we may be able to give a raise here or there, okay? So,
I agree.
and like Barbara, you've got 3 vacancies, all right, in your department.
That's what we were
And
talking about.
I don't know if all 3 are needed, not needed, or they're not there. If you say, yes, I need all 3, then you need all 3. It's that simple, okay? But if one, like the procurement, we need somebody there. There's no doubt in my mind.
That's what I was saying just a second ago, is that out of those 3 positions, Barbara has evaluated as a department head and identified 2 of the positions we're going forward with filling. 1 we're not at this time, and that's the procurement position. Another is in community development. Another is, of course, my position, and then 1 in the library. So there's a number of dollars that are within our general fund
What was that 4th one you mentioned after the
in the
code?
library.
The library.
And, this allows us, particularly with community development, it's a permit technician position. Right now, with the amount of development coming in, do we need 2? This allows us to evaluate whether or not, the need for that, something that the department had, identified with me to work on. So again, we're looking at that, and it's more than just identifying it here at the dais. We have to look at the process, the priorities, what their job, how they're meeting service levels within our community. What I would hate is to identify positions that may have a significant impact, and now there's a number of concerns that we're not meeting that level of service. And that, again, is that's my job for you guys, is to work with staff to identify that and make those decisions and say, it's best right now that we don't do that. Let's hold off. That's why before we even started the budget process or the budget workshop process, we had identified most of those positions were going to be frozen until we could either afford to do it or we needed to do it.
We
Needed to
need
fill
your expertise. We hired you on your expertise, all right? So you need an assistant. Well, let's be real, okay?
But I have to
Because
set the example, I think. I think if And I appreciate that, but if I don't set the example and ask other departments, you know, I agree with that, but if I'm gonna ask someone else to sacrifice, I think it needs to start with me.
There's a difference between needing an assistant and wanting an assistant. If you get an assistant, they take off some of the workload, all right? So everybody that's there, oh yeah, I need an assistant, I need an extra person, because they want to reduce the workload. It's reality, okay? We need you to be able to focus on other areas to help us. And that's why I said I agree with Judas, not to all of it, but there's a couple positions absolutely that need to be filled, and that's absolutely one of them, all right? In order to move forward, because while you're great at multitasking, right, it becomes more and more difficult as more is put on your plate. Throw the P3 in there, Nautilus, I mean, it just takes more and more of your time away from focusing on how we can get through this fiscal year with minimal, very minimal money out of the reserve fund. So,
I just wanted to clarify some. The monies that I was looking at in order to do the increases were because of positions that were not filled. And in essence, based on the increase that I had suggested, it really was only a total of about 40,000, okay? But we had almost 400,000 with vacant positions. So I just wanted to clarify that. And the reason why I said I was toggling with whether or not to do COLA and merit is because then that would bring us above with everyone. So it was a matter of, well, would we do a merit or would we do a COLA, but not both because of the high salaries that were already there for, for executives. So I just wanted to be on the record for that.
well, thank you. Great clarification. COLA is a cost of living adjustment. And if you're already making 6 figures plus, there's less need for COLA. If you're making 40,000, COLA really helps you. So I could support what you're saying about the COLA, not across the board, but if we had a threshold to eliminate the COLA for this year. All right, this year is critical. We don't know what next year is going to bring. You know, we may get more money in, we may lose property tax, and then we're really going to be scrambling. We don't know. We can't predict the future. But I like your idea, Judith, of the COLA. Was you thinking of a level, or was it across the board?
Well, the way how it stands right now, right, they had a 1.5 COLA increase. But in the budget, we saw both. We saw both what the merit at 3% is, and also what the COLA would be at 1.5. So that, I think, among us, we would probably just need to hash out. Because at the end of the day, I will say this, whether I'm making 150,000 or I'm making 48,000, my expenses are my expenses, right? And I'm living in the same community. We do have an issue, and I keep saying that, and I've even read the Wall Street Journal. Palm Beach County has actually now become like one of the 10 most expensive counties, and I mean in the nation. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard. I mean, I'm almost at the verge of tears when I think about the fact that our young people are struggling, and just to sort of not necessarily make it personal, but this is across the board in the school district, and a few of us are on it. They have had a complete freeze. We have counties that have closed 35 public schools. We have a county where teachers, they've frozen teachers, and whatever is there, they're having to scramble because of what's happening. So it's just not us as a entity here, but it's we're definitely feeling it across the board.
Richard or Barbara, would you have a guesstimate if we followed that reducing or eliminating COLA this year, how that would affect the budget?
We absolutely do.
Whoa. Oh, I didn't see that.
That's because
Whoa.
we're waiting.
Transparency, right? Ain't that what he tells us? But he's hiding papers. I was kidding, Richard.
I
Go.
know you are. So what we did and what Barbara did is she broke it down by the different funds. Barbara, do you have a copy for everybody?
Yes.
So we have in our general fund, we have a 1.5% in all the different funds. So if we were to fund the 1.5%, the total COLA cost is $96,000 for all funds. So, and that includes FICA, FRS, all your costs there. So by fund, general fund is 58,000, and I'll just do the numbers. Streets and roads 608, marinas 6,281, stormwater 3,198, sanitation 6,824, and then CRA 3,720. And then you'll see that if we went to 1%, it would drop from 58,000 in general fund to 38,000, or basically $32,000 per 0.5% with all funds, if you look down at the bottom. So it's $32,000 per 0.5% for all costs in all of your funds for a 0.5% increase.
So right there, at zero COLA for this year, we could realize a savings of 90,000 plus.
$96,000, yes, sir.
See, now that's starting to make sense when you start tearing it apart. Is it a little bit of a hit to everybody? Sure. But it's a small hit compared to taking the 3% away or something like up to.
Yes,
Sorry,
I was
Roger.
gonna- yeah.
Up to 3%.
Well, I just want
I
I just want that to be clarified because it is. I understand everybody sees that 3% and they're looking at it like it's such a big number, but it is up to. It's not. It has to be budgeted at 3% because we have to budget it that way. But at the end of the day, not everyone, dependent on the staff's performances, you may see parity throughout the percentages of. And that's also negotiated by the union, which is something else to consider when you're talking fluctuating COLA and
If
merit.
we were going to change the merit for all employees, including union, we would have to go back to the table and renegotiate. Otherwise, we would have an unfair labor practice. So the second thing that I wanted to mention about the union side of it, or after the union side, thank you, Mayor, is that, remember, merit's not paid for a full year for everybody. We're budgeting it for a full year for everybody.
Correct.
But we don't pay it out for a full year for everybody. I came in, by the way, I know, and I want to clear this up too. Even though it's budgeted for me, you guys authorize whatever I get. So that was just budgeted because it was budgeted for everybody, and that's just the way we did it. So for what it showed for me, it's whatever you guys decide. I'm a contractual employee, and that would be different even though it's budgeted. But for someone that comes in tomorrow, starts tomorrow with us, they're not going to get a merit increase or an evaluation until this time next year. So their budget is for a full 3% for their salary, but they're only going to get that for a month or a half a month. So there's built-in savings there that we budget. It'd be so difficult to go into each one and budget just for those number of months. It just would take Barbara, so much time to do that. So what we do is we build it in, knowing that there's going to be that savings in your personnel side, which again, we've set the direction going forward that that savings in personnel are no longer to be utilized in operating unless it's approved. So we were using that previously. We've now changed that. So So those savings where there's open positions, where there's savings in FRS, where there's savings in FICA and federal, and any of those personnel costs in the first part of your budget, those will not be used and will roll right into your reserve or your fund balance into each fund at the end of each year, unless there's some sort of an emergency that we have to spend it. So those are dollars that are there, but they'll roll into your fund balance.
Well, let me ask you an important question. The 3% merit, is it based on subjective by the department head or objective to where they've got to meet a certain set of criteria to get where it needs to go?
There's an evaluation form that I don't know how long we've used. Has it been a while?
It's not changed since I've been here.
So it's 9 years?
7.
7, sorry. So we've been utilizing a form where the staff member provides an evaluation of themselves, which,
Town clerk indicated 23.
oh, it's 23 years, sorry. We've been using the same evaluation form.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you, Vivian. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I apologize. And then the department head comes in, or the supervisor comes in and reviews and scores. And then the department head will sign and review and make sure that it looks good. And then there's, based on the percentage or the score, is what the percentage will be for what they would get as a merit increase. Now, one of the things that I want to see us do more of in that document is SMART goals. I want us to have more specific and measurable goals, which, you know, I read everyone, I sign everyone, and I would like to see us be able to hold our staff a little bit more accountable to meeting some of those measurable goals and specific goals to their position so that, again, they can grow professionally. The goals to me are one of the most, it's more important than what you did in the past than telling people what we expect from you going forward. And I think we can do some good stuff there with our staff and grow professionally by looking at some of that. But we do have, it's subjective, but it's also objective. So when you ask me that, it's kind of both.
All right, well, I would like to consider an agenda item to review that form if it's been that long, you know.
Well, that's
I'm sorry,
something we
you
would
say-
normally do in-house, and that's normally on the operation side, and it is something that I intend to look at, Commissioner. It's something that I would like to see us be a little bit more specific about.
Okay. You run the town, it's your staff. I'll retract that statement.
No. I
It's
understand.
that simple, you know.
But I can assure you it's on my to-do list.
Well, you know.
We do have to think about that, though, in terms of looking at that for our town manager.
Right,
Because
right.
I was
It would be
explain-
nice
I was
if it was a
explaining to
mirrored
you in
image.
conversations that we were trying to do that with our previous, is go into a SMART goal
Yeah.
type evaluation. So that's something, again, we could look into. But, you know, again, you have your staff to take care of first, so.
Yeah.
Michael, you've been awful quiet.
Yeah, because I'm just going to say it kind of like the way I feel about this whole budget process. This is my second budget process. We are in a little bit of a jam, but how we got here are by decisions that previously was made. We have a new town manager here that's been here 8 months on the job, right? Correct? 8 months, somewhat in time. Ninth, okay. We have, I told you pretty much when I first sat down that items that we would like to fix and things that we would like to, that I personally would be looking at you for you to fix for the town. And it's not fair to me, and I tell you, I do about 37 observations a year, evaluation observations, those things. It's not fair for me to judge you and saying that your input is value if I'm not taking your input. I hear you keep coming back and said, we need to freeze these positions, this will help us out. And we circle back around just to come back to freeze these positions. But at the end of the year, we're going to evaluate you on your decisions that we're kind of making for you. And Commissioner Linda, I do understand that he does need an assistant, but I think with the salaries that we pay the executive staff, those are assistants. They need to be running their departments, not micromanaging their departments, and hold accountable for their work. And I think that's more important for what I'm saying about, and Barbara, I know you do a great job with the budget. That's more important us taking your recommendation when you're telling us that we can get out of this if we do this and do that. That is your decision, and that's we're holding you accountable. Now, we're going to give our input because that's what we're supposed to do, give our input. I don't agree with a lot of the budget and a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm with Commissioner Linda. I think there's some stuff that can be cut in the departments, but we're here now. So going forward, this is why we paid out the big bucks. So this stuff needs to be reevaluated, but we have 10 days to get this done. So going forward, you say that's one thing. A budget is a projection. We're projecting on what the next year can take us. So we need to take a deep dive, not now, but going forward, on what we can do to make the following year substantial. Now, I'm agree. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this on the record. If we're not better off now than next year, I will not be for any raises at all, because we need to be, as a town, I hear a lot that we're a small town, but we pack a big punch. We just got to go out and do it. We got to improve from the executive staff, the town manager, and the commission. We got to bring in more for our town, but we just can't sit here and argue we're broke and we can't afford this. We got plans now. So if you're recommending that we freeze certain positions, which I am too, a favor of, and I have a question about this COLA thing, because I'm stuck on the fence on this. If we didn't give COLA to half of the employees and we gave it to some, Tom, will we be facing any litigation?
Well, I don't know that you'd be facing litigation, but usually COLA is applied consistently throughout employment because it's a cost of living raise, essentially, and all employees are subject to the same cost of living.
Could it bring up unfair labor practice?
Well, I don't know that COLA is necessarily in the collective bargaining agreement, but if the union's employees are not getting COLA and general employees are getting COLA, then you're likely to get some type of pushback on that.
That could have possibly cost us a little money itself.
Well, I think the bottom line is that COLA goes across the board. You're either going to give COLA or you're not going to give
exactly
COLA.
what I was getting to. We cannot just give some and not the others. It's just
Correct.
like my $100 gift card that I got from Thanksgiving last year, that you cannot just give some and give, I didn't get one, by the way, I'm just joking, but you can't give some and not give to everyone. So either we're going to give it to everyone or we're not, because that's the way the law set up to do. But I do agree that we should freeze vacant positions to try to get some of this money back, but we also got to start reevaluating and holding ourselves accountable on improving our jobs and helping the town grow. And we got to let the quarterback manage and do the play calling,
Tommy Castellanos?
or we can bench him.
Okay, so we talked about vacant positions, saving money that way. I heard estimated like 400,000. Is that? Yeah, that's about right. The 3% increase, I keep reiterating, because I want everybody to be not of the mindset that it's 3% being handed to everybody that is dependent on evaluations and what's being determined through those evaluations. So again, it's up to. So that's can be within a savings in itself as we go through evaluations. The 1.5% COLA, I'm right here with you, Vice Mayor, in terms of, and as well as you, Town Attorney. Speaking as somebody that gets that in another entity, in another agency, that's usually given throughout the entire staff. In my other line of work, the county commissioners are the ones that dictate that. I'm not in the mindset of doing that. I believe in what this staff can do professionally to get ourselves ahead, even through these trying times. I'm not of the mindset to give the perception that if things get really bad, that we're going to have to do some sort of extenuating circumstance to move. And I understand you made the claim of, cutting positions or layoffs or however you put it. I'm not giving that, because that puts fear. You might as well just tell them now that if I'm on the other side hearing that from you and I'm the staff member, I'm scared right now.
Let me clarify that, just like your merit raise. That was not intended for this year.
No, I understand.
If we don't get more of an income, we're going to run out of money in the
Correct.
reserve. And then we have no choice. Has nothing to do with this year.
100% understood. I'm just saying, you have to look at it two ways. I have to look at it as how we say it here and articulate it, and how it's received. And it can be received many, many, many ways, by whether it be the residents or even by our staff. So I'm a big supporter of the staff. I want to see the staff move. I want to see the staff grow. In this time, we don't need a growth of staff. We all really agree on that. That's majorly agreed. But I believe that through these cuts, through these tweaks, we can get by this budget. And I'm not going to be of the mindset to say every year, well, hopefully this project will come through. Well, hopefully this project will come through. They'll come through organically as they do. You cannot put a forecast to a property that is bought and then built on and set the timetable to say, I'm going to get this done in 3 years. Because in 3 years, anything can happen. Nautilus, the project at Nautilus is the perfect example of how one little thing go wrong can set back a timetable that's great. And we won't get into that because that's a whole different topic within this. Understood. But I'm just going to use that as a phrase. But I feel like you can get us through this. I feel like the staff can get us through this, through whatever ideas you guys do in the war room as you sit together and get this done. I feel like the staff does not need to be set in a micromanaged state. They need to get themselves adjusted to the climate of what we stand today in terms of the budget. And I think they will. But you all got to collectively get through this together. I understand that with my counselors, I agree. Some cuts need to be tweaked. But it sounds like you're already proactive in that now, ahead of time, even without us saying it. So and it shows. Every question asked, oh, we're already ready. We got a sheet for you. So that tells me already. It tells me you're basically waiting for us to throw the ball up, and then you got it and pushed it through. That's good. That makes me feel good knowing that, okay, I think we're going to get through this. And then anything that comes thereafter online, meaning Nautilus, Avalon Bay, and keep in mind, and now I'm going to wear my property appraiser hat, Texas Roadhouse came on this budget. The warehouse out west, I believe, Innovation Center came on this budget. So this revenue you're seeing is from buildings that already have been successfully. Nadia, am I saying that right? Some of those projects in the West End? Yeah, Silver Beach Industrial. The self-storage facility, the big one, correct? Came online in this budget. So little by little, we are growing. I understand the part of the budget still is a little tight, but we are growing. We're not going backwards. We're just not moving. We're not jumping forwards. So I believe it can get done. You guys know what you're doing to get it done. I just agree with my fellow commissioners in terms of we need to tighten it up a little bit, put some onus on certain things that don't need to be like jumped upon in terms of
Sure.
pushing the budget. And as far as the COLA and the merit, it'll take care of itself as you go along the year. These positions, hold it. Hold them.
Yeah,
With the exception of the ones that you've identified, it is a necessity.
yeah.
But the rest, hold on, because if you're telling me that $400,000 is a hard line,
412 is
412.
what it comes out to be.
412, in just one line, one thinking of a budget,
Yeah.
that's a good significant amount. So,
And that's just a personnel cost. So if there's ancillary or related costs to that position,
Yeah.
uniforms, things like that, those also are. But again, those things and those dollars will be there all throughout the year,
yeah.
and it'll roll back.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys evolve this as you go along, as well as my fellow commissioners. I know they're all in anticipation of that, but I think you already are in that roadmap already of this is what we got to do for the interim. And
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to having more dialogue with you, as well as Barbara and the rest of the staff, and I know you guys are too. So,
I also want to say, because I forgot to say this, take a look throughout the year and not just towards budget time. You know, we sometimes get in the habit of just, because we deal with it every year, we're like, I probably need that. I don't need this. Times change and things change. Sometimes we don't need a lot of stuff. So I encourage you and the department heads to we don't need this. We can stretch this out. We can slice this down some ways we can save money. And that's the way I think we are going to look at when it comes to people coming to our town is like, what do they offer Lake Park? What can they give us? That's the way I'm looking at it from here on out. What can they give us? We're not going to be the foot mat. What's in it for us? And so I think that's the way the rest of the staff can look at things too. What's in it for the town? What's in it for the residents? How can we make this better for all of us, for generations to come?
So, and then again, I want to thank you guys as my fellow commissioners in your ideas and your thoughts, because you've actually kind of helped me realize what I'm thinking. You're all thinking the same thing. So we seem to be in alignment of a lot of things that we're talking about here, and as well as those residents that brought us their versions of their public comments. So, Mr. Steinhauer, I looked here that you had a public comment card. Is this on this agenda item? Okay. Before you come up, did you have something you want to add? Okay.
Okay, so town manager, I guess what I'm looking for, and this goes back to you, Lyndon, are you looking for us to, because I think you made mention that the budget could then be approved and then to come back and then make some amendments. I'm going to tell you how I feel about that. Every time we have to come back and make a budget amendment to me, it becomes problematic. Why do I think that it becomes problematic? Because then I'm like trying to think, okay, where did this come from? How are we transferring this from another? So if you're asking us, and I'm almost hearing like the consensus that's saying freeze these positions as far as where we are, then I'd like to be able to say, okay, fine, we have, I don't know, $412,000 that we know that's out there? Or are you saying to us, approve the budget, make a recommendation to approve the budget as is, and then come back with budget adjustments before the second reading? Like, I don't know what kind of direction you're looking for, because for every time I sit here, we don't need to look at these. Your comment was, we've already internally said this is how we have thought about it, and these are possibly positions that we will not be filling. However, we still see it here. So I guess I'm just asking, what are you wanting us to do, town manager? Like, what do you want?
That was a lot to take in, isn't it?
No, I appreciate.
No, that's
I
actually
appreciate
good,
the question. What I would like to do is to be able to say, if you absolutely want us to go back and look at areas that we can cut, we can certainly do that. My concern is that I don't know that we're going to be able to be as thorough and identifying the priorities that, that we've maybe have thought were priorities that we need to cut, that are going to be able to be thought of and have those conversations in such a short time. That's a process. It takes time to do. It takes time to decide. There might be some that we may need to come to you that we've always done that are included in here that might be significant. So what I'd like to do is have the time to be able to work with staff and identify those areas. If we want to cut some of the smaller items like uniforms and things like that, we can do that right away. Most of our operating, there's not going to be that significant of a cut in the operating side. There's just not a lot there. The actuals are there. You see what the actuals are, and you see them over 3 or 4 or 5 years. So that's there. Can we still make some cuts? Probably. But I can assure you that if the direction will be directly from me, and that we're hearing it from you as well, to me, is that over the next 12 months, we need to be mindful of this. We need to reduce. Some of those things we may not be able to cut now. We may need to decide when those issues come up. And so we're going to do that then too. Mm-hmm. So what I'd like to do is move forward with this budget
As is.
If you want me to come back again, I'll ask the staff to do it. I appreciate, that it's not just me and Barbara because it can't be. It has to be, and the budget and the budget was prepared by the departments. And again, they've looked at it. They've reduced in a lot of areas, and we can ask them to go back and take a second look before the next meeting if that's what you would like to,
Yeah.
so that we can cut some of those maybe not as low-hanging fruit.
Because I was going to say, because the uniforms, they're so minimal. I mean, $150 here, $200 there. We haven't seen anything. And to be honest, I think this year was probably my first year, with the exception of the 2 shirts that I got back in '23, that I even use, the funds, right? So it's so minimal, So I'm really looking in my mind for more big,
Programmatic.
Yeah,
That's what we need to look at.
because those are small, and I don't know if saying to your, and that's why you're here, saying to your staff here, we need to look at a 20% cut or whatever it is, how that looks, on. But to me, what I saw and what I'm hearing from the dais is freezing the positions, and that helps out a lot, and it, it loosens up some money for us, or eases up some funds. And that's not to discredit anyone who feels that they need a particular position, that it's definitely warranted, right? Absolutely. But just looking at, things that were available, I would say yes. But I still am very for making sure that the other 2 department heads who are statutorily required to be here, that we look at where their salary is and really bring it back in place with some of our other higher executive, and because there's money there in order to offset that. So that's just Commissioner Thomas.
If I could talk about that real quick. You guys had talked about, and we included it in, about a salary survey. It would be appropriate we could either do it ourselves and do something in-house, or like you guys were talking about it, I think at the last meeting, do something where there's external and we have an independent person. That's in here. We included that in. I believe we included $10,000 for that. Is it 10?
Correct.
See, I have a good memory. What do you guys want us to do with that? Because my concern with that is that there will be an expectation of if there's a low area in salaries, there will be an expectation of resolving those. So I just want to make sure that I have an understanding of your direction on where you guys want me to go with that.
I will tell you that in past, if a community wasn't looking at revamping their entire positions and salaries, then that's an outside source. I think when we're looking at, comparability as far as town, positions, et cetera, then I think that that's something, in my personal opinion, that can be done internally. I think that our staff should, now, typically, that would have been done by an HR person. We don't necessarily have an HR person anymore. We don't have an HR person like the director. But that would have come underneath that purview of that, of that department,
Yeah.
so.
And that would save us, some dollars there. And that would be my recommendation, is allow us to do some of those in-house, because, again, it's not just the size of the community, it's the organization.
Mm-hmm.
It's how many staff are, who we're evaluating, is it comparable to who we're comparing with as well.
Since you're asking direction and consensus, I would say I would be in
Good.
in the same agreement. So I don't know if you guys.
I'm in total agreement
Yes.
to do it in-house.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, going out, you're going to get higher salaries. So I say do it directly in-house.
Yeah. And there you have your direction.
So we'll remove that definitely is from the next, from when we finalize.
All right. So let me get this.
And,
Go ahead.
well, I have one more section that I want to talk about cutting in such that, and I missed.
You can't cut commissioners. That's just a joke.
Well, we make so much that sometimes I think we should pay to be here. Anyhow, I missed this last time because I did. I'll just let it go at that. But for special events, there's a lot of things in special events that don't make a lot of sense to me. One being, why should we be the entertainment capital for Riviera Beach, North Palm, Palm Beach Gardens? We do so much for the people, and I have no idea what the ratio of Lake Park residents versus outside of Lake Park residents attend our events, all right? So let me just run through a few of them. And if we're going to move forward with moving the recreational department to the tennis pro shop, we're going to need phone and internet there, because there's no doubt. Plus, we got to get ADA, bathrooms, and so forth. So if we don't move forward on that, that's a savings.
That's right. Yes, sir.
It wouldn't be a savings. It's there because of the security cameras.
I'm sorry.
The Comcast is there because of security cameras.
We have internet.
We have internet
already.
there.
Oh, it's listed here as internet. And
Right, because adding phone wouldn't cost any extra. So
Okay.
it could be for phone and internet, but it's internet right now for security cameras.
okay, well, if we're going to occupy that's a good idea.
We accidentally cut it, and PBSO let us know right away that we had turned off the wrong thing.
But your point is taken that, yeah, if we don't go there, then if we don't sell the 800 building, there won't be the need to spend those dollars.
All right. Most of us on the dais have participated in the Martin Luther Day King parade with rented vehicles. And for 2 cars at $2,200, that just seemed high. All right? When the average rental car from Enterprise for a convertible is $125 a day. So, but do we really need to participate in that? Where is our ROI, return on investment, by participating in the parade? That's a feel good, but how does that benefit the residents of Lake Park?
And of course, those items, or that was part of the survey that was completed, and I believe both of those events had more than 3 votes to go forward with them.
Okay,
Why
well,
we included them in.
we may want to, I don't know how many people voted, how many didn't. I
But
haven't
certainly,
seen those results.
one of the
but-
areas in there that we certainly can look at the signs and be able to reuse signs and things like that. So with those, with both of those events.
Okay. And we added a year to the MLK celebration, which cost us $20,000. Do we want to keep it? Do we not want to keep it? Do we want to tag it onto one of the sunset celebrations and save money? You know, do we need two separate celebrations? I guess is where I'm headed with that. We have photo and videos, and I don't know where they're at. I haven't seen a whole lot of photos of any of our events, but yet it's down there for $1,000. So banners, games, activities, there's photo and video for $1,100. I understand we own some of our own tents, but yet we rent tents also. So, and normally being on the receiving end of that, when we do have a tent, and if you're a nonprofit, you get it for free. I understand that there's a cost to set it up, tear it down. That's what Public Works does, all right? So things like that I would reevaluate. The parade, Veterans Day Parade, again, we're spending $2,500 to put one or possibly two cars in there. I was confused on this one. Tennis and pickleball are $7,500.
Which account number? Sorry.
Well, Barbara, that goes back to one of those explanation things that you and I were talking about. That's
Could you
$652,000.
Could you tell me the number for that area? The account number, please?
That's maintenance.
Special events.
No, I know that, but the specific.
Oh, so it's special events, so Department 600, and it's 52,000 are the last 5 digits.
Thank you.
It's called operating supplies.
Yep.
So tennis, pickleball, replacing nets, rollers, windscreens, et cetera.
That's as needed, correct?
It would be an as needed, but you can't not budget something because something will break.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
And when I brought up, no, it doesn't matter, about the tennis courts, we're still working on the tennis courts. By the way, people were playing on that court Saturday. I just want to let you know with the break in the concrete and so forth. Some of this stuff, the $1,100 for the Lake Park bike tour, I couldn't figure out where we had spent that money. It's $657,235 toward the Lake Park. I know exactly what it is, and I was in that, and we enjoyed it. But where did?
No, he enjoyed it.
Oh, enjoy it.
Thank you. I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
We had fun, but $1,100. Where did we spend, or how did we spend $1,100?
Is that safety expenses?
Or is that insurance expenses?
Well, I don't know.
So it's having the Public Works Department staff there, the banners, the beverages, the snacks, everything that we supply for the event when you guys go around.
Now it makes sense, okay? And thank you for that. And that's why I said earlier, a lot of these don't make sense unless there's an explanation with them. So
I think a lot of these they can look at as they go too and kind of, tweak it. That goes along with the tweaking as they go throughout the year that the town manager and staff could kind of look at and say, okay, let's cut a little bit off this. I'm not sure if we need everything here like that. Plus more participation, like for instance, like you talked about the bike event, that could be participation from
Right.
whoever we associate with in terms of the theme.
And to spend $2,000 for a fire truck rental, that was high compared to a number of other townships that do use a fire truck. That's for you, Santa? Well, there's some really cool ways of doing it. You rode the fire truck for free. Well, again, there was this, at the Saturday event, this guy had, and somebody hired him. He had a little train. And, the train is at the fire truck? Oh my goodness, yes. If you looked at this, he had a little red car, we sat in it, took a ride, and I don't think it would come nowhere near $2,000, but I could be wrong, so. We could do that if you wanted. I got access to that.
They go fast. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, well, I got a golf cart that's devoted just for that. Santa all over. Okay, so I assume this is a placeholder for adult programs, senior programs, teen programs, and youth programs, 57,238, because we have none of the adult or senior, or we may have a few that I'm aware of, but it's like $8,000. So that's about it. So what I'm saying is some of these can be reduced, eliminated, and I don't know what happened to my page with the number of sunset celebrations, but they're about $10,000 each for each one that we put on between all the activities. And I opened up with the statement, do we need to entertain everyone else? If we do, then we keep it, but I like it. I go to most that I can make, but you hear more, well, I don't hear that much more anymore about people coming down because we're putting it on. We got fireworks in there for $35,000. For the red, white, and blue, we had the fireworks last year that was really nice. But I'll go back to my opening statement. If we're looking to save money this year because we don't have it to spend without taking it out of reserves, trim down this year and change it for next year.
The area that I guess I'm in a pickle with some of this is that we did the survey, and these were all included in the survey. So I would need you guys to give me direction if you wanted to change those, because that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do that survey, so that we had an understanding of we weren't able to put everything in that was in the survey, but these were the areas that we identified that seemed to have the most support to go forward with. So I'm willing to do whatever you guys want to do, but these were the areas that...
The survey was a great wish list, and most of us checked off quite a bit that we would have liked to have seen, because all of us are active in this community, and we love to see the residents there. But there comes a point like this year where we got to make some decisions. And while that survey was nice, again, it was like, what would you like to see and what you definitely don't want?
But that was by our community, because this wasn't the one for us. But
oh, no, wait.
This is the survey that was taken at the Sunset Celebration. Isn't that what you're referring to?
I thought it was the one that we did.
Talking the survey that we did as commissioners.
Okay.
We called it priorities.
Okay, the priorities.
Yes.
Were you needy? Oh, my goodness. I had to think of the wine, because all of a sudden I had a brain freeze. And were you needy? Not enough food going to the brain. Okay, here it is. Didn't we used to, did we always have sunset celebration for 12 months? Because I used to think that we only had it maybe for 6 months. No. We always had it the whole 12 months?
We have it for 10 months.
We used to have it for 10 months.
We always have it. It's still for 10 months. That's all. We have it
all it-
January through October. We don't do November and December.
Because of the holidays.
Correct. We've discussed in the past possibly
Yes.
not doing it during the summer
Right,
months.
right.
But that has
But
never
that,
happened.
but that didn't happen. Okay, maybe that was what it was, because I was under the impression that we had stopped, but somehow we expanded it. But we never expanded it. We just kept it at 10 months.
We just kept it at 10
I
months.
want some real food.
CRA Judith, yay.
Right, exactly. We only have, because it closes
Well,
in
if
20
we-
minutes. So 10 months. Okay.
Okay, so we've exhausted this whole thing. Really, the vote again is on the budget as it stands, and it sounds like we're all gonna let the budget, vote on the budget as it stands, and moving forward, you will look to do more cuts.
Whoa. I never agreed to go with the budget the way it is.
Town manager, did you make a recommendation just a little bit earlier?
That's my recommendation.
That was his recommendation.
Without changes to this budget,
No, he's going to make changes as we go. That's what he was just stating that.
if this is the same budget we're presented for 10 days from now, it's an absolute no for me.
Okay, that's very well said. Okay.
Because we talked for 10 hours, 15 hours on what the budget needed, what it didn't need. And if I don't see a revised budget, I just wasted 10 to 15 hours of my life. Whether I win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter.
No, I get what you're saying.
Understand.
I get what you're saying. Yep.
Reason for us to look at this, make recommendations, changes, give it back to you, and in 10 days, we're going to have a final budget that's yes or no.
Town manager?
My recommendation again would be, like I mentioned, we can certainly go back, but the real savings in this budget, I mean, if you want me to go back and look at for example, the special events, I need to know direction, which ones you guys want to cut. Because you guys went through your priorities, and these were the items that were in your priorities. So for me to go back and cut them and, go against what a majority of this commission gave me direction to do, I'm going to need direction back to say, yes, cut them. So
Understood. No, you're 100%.
this is where I'm in a pickle. I mean, that's why
Those items that are being talked about now are ones that we up here agreed on.
And so if you want me to go back and cut some of the smaller things and have the directors do that, we can do that before the meeting. And get that, because it's got to be done even sooner so we can get the ad done.
So then I would
But
say,
some of your bigger, if we're looking at bigger numbers,
That's what I'm looking at.
those are program numbers. Those are us reducing down program costs and things like that, that right now I don't know that I'm prepared to be able to sit here and say, I can recommend cutting. I think I need to have more conversations with you guys over the course of the year to know what you guys want policy-wise. I mean, right now, I'll just be cutting. I mean, and I can ask the departments just to cut 10%, but that may not get us to where we want to go. That may not allow us to meet our service levels. And as professional staff, what I'd like to be able to do is to say, let us have the time to look at this, for me to look at it, work with staff, look at what our expectations have been and where we want them to go, and question why are we doing this? I've said this before to staff, and we talk about it. If we're doing something and it takes us 40 hours to do it, 2 people to 40 hours each to do it, that's 80 hours, and it benefits 3 people, why do we do it? Those are the programs that I think we need to be saying we need to cut, save those dollars, save those staff costs, either reprioritize those dollars and those hours to something that's going to be more productive so it meets more of your needs. But sitting here right now and trying to get that, I think we're just surface we would just be surface, cutting, which we can do, and it'll save us some dollars. But I think long-term, we need to be looking at this deeper and saying, what are we doing that doesn't make sense, or we were doing it because we've always done it and we don't need to do it anymore. That's the harder work that needs to be done. Not disagreeing at all with any of what you all are saying, but to really be able to identify why we're doing something and whether we need to cut it. I need to be able to sit with the department and understand that. And with all the things that are going on right now, I can barely answer all my email. And I'm not even doing that effectively. So I just would be concerned if you're asking me to start looking at things that you guys have either evaluated, you've done for years, and we have no notice and we're just cutting it. I'm afraid I'm going to put you guys in a position, the town in position, and our staff in a position to take criticism that I don't know would be warranted. And so what I'd prefer is that give me some time to look at it, work with the departments, but I can certainly in between look at some of the other areas and give you something where there's at least some reduction, knowing that there's $412,000 just in salaries. There's a 10 in the salary study, and I can look at some more capital. Maybe we can reduce some of the capital numbers, and shift. So that's just where I'm stuck.
Yep.
I'm stuck.
All right, I'm going to let this public comment card go through. Mr. Steinhauer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'm completely confused about September 18th. It's supposed to be a second and final public hearing. If you make votes today and then you vote on the 18th, what's the purpose of a public hearing? The purpose of a public hearing is for us to provide insight and opinion and feedback to you to make a difference. So I don't understand what the purpose of September 18th was, and I planned on bringing out the forces on the 18th because this was too short notice, and we have a lot to say. Number two, I've heard the phrase, it pays for itself. Well, nothing pays for itself. Taxpayers pay, one way or another. Nothing pays for itself. Next thing, I struggle with the integrity that I know that Richard and Barbara bring to the table and the difficulty that they have in guiding this budget process. I struggle with Mr. Commissioner Linden's suggestions about smaller cuts being made all along and the impact that will provide. But I wonder what these things if all of these things, particularly some of these special project events, issues are for the next 13 months. Do they have to be done at the moment that we're in right now? Tonight I heard we're broke. Tonight I heard we're in a jam. I heard things are tight. If you think the staff is scared, residents are frightened because it's going to come down on us. And you have to make some very difficult decisions here, both in the small scale and on the larger scale of things that are going to make a difference. I wonder what happens when a budget is submitted in a tentative way. I guess the county requires it under statute, whatever, but there are budget adjustments that could be made during the year. What if we had a tentative budget after the 18th public hearing and then made adjustments after that so that Richard and his fine staff, not being facetious, Richard and his fine staff can continue to make the adjustments that we made because we're broke. Holy Hannah. I'm scared too. The definition of savings. Savings is when you have an expense that you eliminate. Not that you freeze, not that you budget for, so that it could be rolled over into the reserve fund, that's not the definition of savings. I'm still paying for it this year, so that you can either freeze something, and we talked about whether we had to study it some more, and maybe those freezes will be unfrozen. If it's a matter of quality of life, the quality of life on all those special events certainly add to Lake Park. But quality of life for me
Thank you
is
very much.
taxpayer savings.
Thank you very much. Okay. We've made our comments, asked our questions. At this point, I will entertain a motion.
You're looking for a motion to close the meeting, or?
No, motion to approve Resolution 640925. If we get a first and a second, we can do further discussion, unless if you have questions for staff right now. If discussion is needed. But we provided direction within our questions, we get in discussion. At this point, it's a matter of making a motion for the resolution.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 64-09-25 for the fiscal year 2026 budget.
Mr. Mayor, if we second, then we go into discussion?
Correct.
Then I'll second.
Okay, we have first and a second. Any other further discussion?
Discussion. I want to be able to get us all there on the right circumstances. So I think it's fair to ask, because, you know, Commissioner Linden said he cannot support this. And I'm a little confused on what in the budget that you would not support. And just as we just heard, and I think the town manager said this before, throughout the year, we can kind of see what we need and what we don't need. So I think we're kind of saying the same thing. I think we're all kind of on the same page, but I think it's not communicating correctly. So I would like, you know, to try to get us where we need to be to go forward with this.
Well, as I went through and said earlier, there's a lot of, I hate to use the word fluff, but there's a lot built into each department. Some of the departments, not every one. And by approving it as is tonight, it's going to be the same thing I'm going to see in 10 days. And without changes to make me feel comfortable that I have to answer to the residents about that, like all of you have been getting phone calls, emails, and so forth. We all have residents that rely on us. So as is, without changes to reduce the budget, I'm just having a lot awkward time with it.
And so you said that, you're saying that if the departments look through the departments to see what they're going to cut, or are you talking about the special events?
No, all departments. I only use those two as an example. Okay. If I went into other departments, I'd have other recommendations. And
Well, for me, that's where the town manager's already articulated that he will look into it throughout the course of this cycle. We have to set a budget regardless, whether the budget's coming with more cuts between now and the 18th or not. But that doesn't mean the cuts stop there. It means now he knows where his base is, his baseline of the budget, and now he can look into within that and keep doing what he has to do to make adjustments to minimize their way.
he has to work, or should have to work, within the budget that we give him.
Correct, but we've also given him direction to do even more after the fact. We've all said that here. That's something I heard throughout our entire course of discussion here, that we all directed to him. We'd like you to look into more of this as a whole.
If something was to happen and next month we had a new town manager, just hear me out. Richard, I hope that never happens. Huh? But yeah, you get hit by a bus, thank you. Yeah, or you choke on one of those chicken bones. Yeah.
Yes, like, you helped him, but.
If something happened to him, I would hope that the next town manager,
you're right.
such as himself, will do their due diligence to watch this very meeting, to hear what the residents said, what we said, and what the climate of the community is, to know his stance from that day forward that he's hired or she's hired moving forward.
We hand him a
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, yeah. We want you here for at least 10, Richard, you know. 10, it's 10 years. Takes years to get this stuff done.
So what I
Give him a budget, and that's what he's expected to live by, all right? Dependent on him, his personality, his interaction with staff is how he's going to approach this budget. Now, I truly believe in my heart that that's going to happen with Richard, all right? But things come up constantly down the road, and they're going to get moved and moved. I want to give him a working document that I feel comfortable signing off on.
Tom, I have a question. This is a legal question. When did we start, okay, resolutions required two reading? I thought ordinances required two reading, resolutions are only one.
I think the distinction here is that the statute requires the budget to be presented in two public hearings. So essentially, you're going to have the same resolution presented
Twice.
twice.
That's
Okay,
statutory.
because I wanted, like, you know, this is just something that I just brought, because when I saw first reading, I was like, wait a minute. There
Yeah.
is, you know, we're used to having first reading for an ordinance and second reading, which makes a little sense in what you're saying, Lyndon, because if you have a resolution and it's by, you know, adoption, and in the past is that it was approved. With an ordinance, you can make those changes and then
Right.
come back for a second reading on that ordinance. So thus was my question to you, you know, town
Well, I
attorney,
think
on how
the
that's done.
resolution is adopting the budget. So whatever is in the budget, when you hear this on the 18th, is what you'll be adopting. Now, you know, all I can say is, you know, other jurisdictions do ordinances, but the effect is the same. It's what's in the budget. So Commissioner Linden's concerns, the manager and the finance director are going to address, and yours, and yours, and yours. And they're going to see what they can do
Between now
before
and the
the
18th.
18th.
Okay.
You may like it, you may not like it, but you'll have to vote on it because you have to have a budget.
Correct.
So they would, whatever changes that he talked about, they can bring to the 18th.
Correct.
Correct. So that's where I was getting at, because I think what I want to talk about is being direct. We also have a commission meeting next week. I'm correct. So we have to get ready for that commission meeting. We have 10 days, but really 8 days, because 2 days are on the weekend. So as staff get ready for a commission meeting, staff get ready for a budget meeting, they get this stuff prepared. I just would like to be direct. And it's like, hey, Tom, I would like for you to take your salary out the budget, and Rich, your salary out the budget, and
Yeah.
and,
Wait a
and
minute.
that way, so you know what he knows what exactly need to be done. So when we bring it back on the 18th, we're not spending 24 hours up here talking about.
So is that hypothetically?
That's a hypothetically.
It's hypothetical.
Yes.
But you get, like, if we go directly, that way when the budget comes back, we're able to know exactly, you know, this is what we probably need to do. Like, hey, listen, I want to take the cars out the parade. All right? If that's the consensus of everybody, we vote on the budget. If not, we'll put it back in. But I think we're kind of guessing a little bit. So we kind of be direct, like, take this out, this, and that. It'd be nice.
All that's said is that the budget is what it is, and moving forward, he will look to make more cuts.
Okay,
because
so
he's been directed
I
to.
just want to be on the record by saying my position is that I want to, one, freeze all of the positions, which is what I stated. I'm looking at and when we say we're freezing, because it's budgeted, that means there's money that's going to be there, okay, because that is what we work with, okay? When I talk about the enterprise fund, I'm saying that as taxpayers, we are currently paying sanitation, we're currently paying stormwater sewer, and we adopted that by ordinance 2 years ago. So therefore, that's already on the books, and we are paying for that, and those funds that are there are paying for those services and paying for that position. So I just wanted like to be clear with that. The other thing that I wanted like to make sure is of that $412,000 that we were looking at, plus or minus, my position would be that we evaluate internally the positions that I suggested that we look at those executive positions. And then finally, my position is on the COLA. I would like to see the COLA across the board.
A hold or a COLA?
COLA, cost of living adjustment.
Across,
Across the board. she
Across
said.
the board is what I said.
Yes.
no cut in a COLA.
The COLA is 1.5, so I would like to see what
You
the,
either have a COLA or you don't have a COLA.
Traditionally, COLA is across.
So
Yeah.
you're saying you want it or don't want it?
I said, and the COLA across the board. Yes, I want the COLA across the board,
Okay.
is what I said.
Can I ask about the merit then?
My thing is that I'm not looking at merit. That's mine, and I said that I wasn't looking at merit. It was COLA or merit, and I'm not going to do merit. I'll be looking at COLA.
Merit, just so we're, merit's what's included in your CBA, your collective bargaining agreement.
With the union.
Are they entitled to the merit?
Because you've approved that agreement and they've approved it, yes, we would have to go back and renegotiate.
So it says that they must get a merit every single year.
But then, it was a 3-year contract and it was approved for merit for all 3 years. Yes, ma'am.
So we approve both the merit and the COLA.
No, just the merit.
So it would be either or.
Well, and
Well, in the case, because if you would need to look at adjustments and equitable,
But
equitability
the
among it all.
merit is just for the union employees. You have to decide separately if you want
So
merit.
yeah, so then one would get merit and then no one would get COLA.
Well, I don't
But that's
know.
how it would
I
be.
don't know what you'll decide, but
But that's what it amount to. That was where that conversation that I was having in my head, earlier between the COLA and the merit. Well, because we have already agreed to it in a 3-year contract, then we're looking at up to 3%.
If I could make a recommendation, if you're going to do one over the other, I would recommend that you have past practice. You've offered it to all your staff.
That's what I'm saying.
So if you're going to recommend one over the other, I would recommend doing whatever you do for all your staff.
Well, while that's all good and well, you can't do that and violate the union contract. We're locked in for 3 years.
Right? You wouldn't, if you gave merit to everybody, you would not be violating. If you wanted to go with COLA, we would have to go back and renegotiate. Doesn't mean that they're going to agree. That's the problem with doing that. But I would just recommend, for a number of reasons, that you consider it going
Across the board.
across the board.
not an across the board. Yeah, across the board.
Board.
That would just be my recommendation as your manager.
Okay. So then there that is. And that's up to 3. So those are my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Those were my major,
Is that
because you gave
do I have the direction from? Would I have the direction from? I mean,
She's speaking in terms of what she feels on the record. I've already given my thoughts. I like the cuts that were made, freezing the salaries. If you want to remove them, and then they're gone. Okay? You're making your adjustments throughout the year. I like that. Make the adjustments, but the adjustments have to be made. I'm not in the position of trying to go ahead and slice COLA here, slice merit here, do this, do that. If it's going to go across the board, let it go across the board. 3% is up to. I will reiterate that again. Up to 3%. COLA is 1.5%. So there is going to be parity, which means it's going to be savings within that as we go along the course of the year. So there's already savings being shown here just in this conversation alone. But I'm not in the same position on everything that she is saying, but I am in some of them. And that's what I have to say on the record.
All right, you got a motion and a second. Are you ready to vote on
If there's
the
no other further
resolution?
discussion,
On this, the motions on this,
on this.
In front of
vote,
us.
Yes.
nay.
We haven't started yet, sir.
You just said vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want to do a roll
We'll
call on this?
do a roll
Yes,
call,
I want to
please.
roll, I would like a roll
'Cause I
call.
just know he's going to want to do the roll call.
No, that's fine.
Thank you, Judy.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
The motion was to approve the resolution. Or should I restate it?
Approve the resolution as it stands.
I understand, but you just voted, I thought.
We could
He
do the
just
roll call.
requested
Well-
to do a roll call.
That's-
Go
I
ahead.
could forgo the roll call. I can retract that. I
Okay.
just want it on the record of who voted for what.
But you ask yays and nays.
Okay,
It's real,
I will repeat it again. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
The vote passes 3-1.
roll call.
And we'll do this all again September 18th.
Take 4 hours.
Town attorney, any comments?
Yes. So I understand code cited the property owner at Second Court, and I just want to make sure, given the budget discussion, before we start on a complaint to enforce the terms of the settlement agreement, that the commission's 4-1 vote at the last meeting, you remain committed to us preparing that complaint and filing it. There are, of course, costs associated with litigation. You may be able to recover some money, you may not be able to. But I wanted to give you one last chance to say yay or nay before we start spending your money on it.
Repeat that last part again?
We have to prepare a complaint to enforce the settlement agreement.
Mm-hmm.
The town against the owners of Second Court,
Thank you.
which you voted on last time. Commissioner O'Rourke made the motion to authorize us to file a complaint. So there's this discussion that went on tonight about money and shortfalls, et cetera, and I just wanted to make sure that you're committed to spending the money, the legal fees that are going to be incurred by the town to file that complaint, because it's not going to be a couple $100 to prepare a complaint and engage in litigation.
What say the commission?
Well, we already voted on it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
even with the discussion on the budget, we have money set aside for legal.
Okay,
So-
so then, there we go.
That's my
There you go.
opinion.
Yes.
Second thing is I will not be here on the 17th. I am at the American Planning Association Conference in Daytona Beach, where my partner and I are making a couple presentations. Actually, he's going to make most of them, but so I just want to let you know that. It's the statewide organization of planners that former Commissioner Glass Castro was chair of at one time. Third thing is I'd like to approach for this year's budget on the legal fees my contract a little bit differently and go with a lump sum for the administrative costs, which I characterize as like day-to-day activities, ordinances, resolutions, agreements. And then separate from that, which you've already budgeted for, litigation and what I would refer to as special projects. An example of that is the P3. Another example may be the downtown, where we're talking about a large time commitment to something, and rather than that coming out of just the monthly retainer, that would be billed separately as on an hourly basis. The other thing about that approach is, and now that I have a manager that actually has been working with me in terms of getting some things accomplished, not the least of which is a budget, is I want to look at, with the finance director, these enterprise funds, because I don't think we've efficiently billed into enterprise funds like the marina or stormwater. It's been kind of lumped into the general fund, and that's probably not where it should be. So that won't come back to you, or I won't come back to you until the October 1st meeting, or whatever the first meeting in October is. But just wanted to let you know that's where I'm hoping that's going to be a savings, but we'll see. I mean, we're doing that in the town of Palm Beach, and it seems to be working well there, and I've had a request to look at it from other cities.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Town
welcome.
manager.
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the dais? Town manager.
Go Norris.
Any comments from the dais?
Yeah, I'll start off.
Go ahead.
Saturday was a fun day down at the park. They had a steady flow when we asked how many kids came through. Two different vendors say, I really don't know, but it was constant. They were coming through. And it was well done, well organized. And that was the Dolly Parton book. And I'm overly excited about that, for kids being able to get a book each month to read. And if you didn't make it down there, that's okay. Reuniti, I'll be talking to you at another time about the guy with the little train. But that's about it, okay?
All right, thank you for that. Anything else? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion of adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Oh, you got an A? Oh, okay.